forward for YouTube. We're 15 seconds out here. ExileCon is happening. Path of Exile 2. We're probably going to get some PoE Mobile too. It's a new league announcement as well. That's going to be happening, I think, next month. So anyway, let's go. I'm joined here by Strippin and Gassy.
Yeah, you invited me to some...
I'm back. We're back. Hello.
Yeah, I don't know what that was.
What do we start? What does this start with? What is this like? Is it a trailer or is Chris Wilson gonna walk out?
Why don't you watch it and find out?
Oh,
there he is.
Oh, it's Crip.
Hey guys, how's it going? Perry in here.
Oh, it's Crip.
Hey, Crip.
Welcome to ExileCon.
I like Crip.
We got Crip to be here.
Thank you all so much for joining us here in New Zealand. It's quite a journey. Thank you guys for joining us
We're
online.
in a Chaos Orb shirt.
It's going to be a fantastic show.
Crip Wilson?
So you guys want to learn about what's coming up in Path of Exile?
No.
Oh, you do?
Yes.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Well, before we get to the people that are best to deliver that information,
it's interesting that he's the host.
To Path of
That is
Exile's
interesting.
wonderful future. Let's take a moment to go over all the wonderful things we have already experienced in Path of Exile. Let's take a moment to check out Path of Exile from the past.
Okay. They're gonna go through all the different renditions of this game. That's wild.
Life is fleeting.
A worthy opponent. Go with God. Death to sin. The touch of God. Bow to your queen, mortal.
You there. Let me bend
So
your
that's where I started, I think, was 2014.
Why are you so in love with death?
The Talisman League. Oh boy.
Let me tell you.
I'm 2017, really?
Wait, let's see. The Legacy League?
Yeah. Oh no, I started 3.0. I'm sorry, this is where I started right here, 3.0.
Ball of the Oria?
Yeah. This is when they introduced the second half of the game, or what is the game now.
Dude, you can just see with every single patch, the game gets faster, 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 faster.
A little bit, yeah.
Well, that was the thing too. Is like I remember way back when Path of Exile did not look as fast as I see it nowadays. You know what I mean? When I've watched JP play it or whatever.
Yeah, but what I'm doing
And
is
part of me
not,
wonders if it's build or if it's, you know.
It's depends how you play it. You don't have to play it like that.
It's approaching exile.
Still sane.
I'm so PoE brained that I see every single one of these patches and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that league. Here are the bad parts about it.
This one should be rather legitimate. Does the toy wish to play with me?
Your path to
So that's what
greatness
PoE
has
2
taken
is supposed to
toward
address, is the experience for the two of you.
Because the game at this point has so much going on.
Yeah,
I've become too weak to sustain.
it's to get people like you who want to play, but don't know where to begin because it's too complicated.
Another mortal wanders into my
Ooh, that was a big, interesting league, Calandra.
It's like he's speaking a different language. Oh, that was a big, interesting Calandra.
I mean, that was Calandra's, yeah.
That water looks nice.
Oh. This is
Whoa.
new. Ish. Oh no, was this what they showed at last ExileCon, chat? Yeah, we've seen this. Is the screen like fucking super dark?
No. The game's dark in general.
I don't think it's any darker than I would imagine the game is, yeah.
Thou creatures.
Maybe that's just PoE, yeah. So these are the two
PoE 2
teasers
looks
that we saw.
amazing, though. This looks great.
Look at that guy.
Really good.
Oh. Hey, it's Chris.
And now, Chris
Motherfucking Wilson.
Why'd they call him Goldilocks?
They don't. I just made that up.
Oh.
Oh, they got another.
Hi, I'm Chris
IRL game
Wilson
going.
from Grinding Gear Games.
So he says that every trailer. That's why that's a big deal.
Welcome to ExileCon 2023. It feels like just yesterday that I was
He
here
looks
on
very
stage at
nervous.
ExileCon 2019 announcing Path of Exile 2. Since then, we have worked tirelessly on the content we're going to show you this weekend. To everyone here in person, thank you so much for coming out to join us. It honestly feels so good to know that people love Path of Exile so much that they fly across the world to come and celebrate it with us in person here. I really hope you have a great trip and make the most of your time in New Zealand. Our last ExileCon was a magical experience, and we've tried to go above and beyond in every way this time. If you're tuning in online to watch the live stream, thanks for joining us also. I wish you could all be with us here, but to ensure you have the full ExileCon experience, we have made sure to include every talk and session as part of the 2-day live stream this weekend. Twitch drops are enabled for the live stream, but if you're here in the audience, you'll automatically get them when you redeem the microtransaction code in your swag bag, so no need to stream it from your phones while you're watching.
We don't have swag bags.
You'll also
Do the
receive
thing.
the attendee-only ExileCon 2023 hideout. We have so much to share with you this weekend.
Yeah, they're getting
and
a
let's
special
just get
hideout.
right into Path of Exile 2.
Do
I'll
it.
buy
I'd
off
like
eBay.
to introduce Jonathan Rogers and Mark Roberts, game directors of Path of Exile 2.
It's okay, Grinding Games will give us one of those too, won't they?
No.
No.
This sponsor stream is over.
Hey
Who do
guys.
you think you are?
While Chris has been running Path of Exile 1, Mark and I and over 100 other developers have been hard at work on PoE 2. And honestly, the project has become
Oh my
much bigger
God,
than
I
we
never
expected
ate
when we
food
announced
today.
it in 2019. It's been almost 4 years
So
since
excited.
then, and so it's about time we showed you what we've been working on. Oh, hang on. Okay. Sorry, I forgot. Okay. When we announced Path of Exile 2 at ExileCon 2019, we told you guys that we were releasing it as an expansion to PoE 1 and that both campaigns would be playable in the
big
same
news.
game client with a shared endgame. But PoE 2's scope has continued to grow and grow, and it's far more than just an expansion with a new campaign. It has entirely new monsters, skills, mechanics, classes, everything you'd expect from the next generation of action RPGs. Not to mention revamps of most of the PoE 1 League content. This thing is just freaking huge. There was a point where we realized that our plan to replace PoE 1 with PoE 2 would essentially be getting rid of a game that people love for no real reason.
Is it just
So
called
we made a
PoE?
decision. Path of Exile 1 and 2 will be separate with their own mechanics, balance, endgames, and leagues.
Oh,
But
wow.
it's still a shared platform. Your microtransactions are available across both games. Everything you have ever
What
purchased or will
the
ever purchase in the
fuck?
future will be usable in both games unless it's hyper-specific to the content of one of them. You can't transform into a bear in PoE 1, so a reskin of your bear form isn't going to work. But you absolutely can equip the awesome armor set that you got and use all your stash tabs. So with that in mind, we'd love to show you a live demo of some of the stuff we've been working on.
So PoE 2
PoE 2
is
has come a
very
long way.
different.
Mark
So
here
the
is gonna man
game
the
is
PC.
so big
Hopefully it doesn't
and now
die.
different
It
that
is a
they're
live
just going to
gameplay
give you
demo after
both
all.
and you should share your transaction.
Yeah. Interesting.
That's kind of better though.
All right.
They're swaying in unison. Yeah, it's a nervous way. People do that when they're nervous.
Yeah.
The gods caused all this, you know. After Oriath was destroyed, I traveled, searching
It looks
for
amazing.
answers. Everywhere
Is this
I
Zana
went,
talking?
the same divine devastation. It must
Oh, no, that's not
end.
Zana.
I
Who dat?
will end it. And no exile will stop me.
Oh, shit. Interesting.
Huntress.
Interesting.
Monk.
That is a lot of classes.
Yeah, it is.
This looks dope.
This looks really, really good.
Oh man, look at. I'm just like kind of freaking out.
He can't even talk.
Yeah.
He can't talk.
It's a starfish.
Holy shit. What? What?
100 bosses?
Okay, that's
Jesus.
Okay, dude. What the fuck? Six-person co-op?
This world will be reborn, no matter the cost.
We have six-person co-op already, but like co-op might mean actual co-op in this. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe they'll talk about that. You would imagine.
What the fuck?
All right, Mark. Your turn now. Welcome to Path of Exile 2. We'd like to start off by showing you some of the gameplay of Act 3, one of the 6 acts in PoE 2's campaign. We're starting here in the jungle depths. Act 3 is set in the ruins of the Vaal civilization, which fell thousands of years ago. Jungle has taken over their former once great cities, and we'll be exploring it using one of the 6 new character classes called the Monk. In PoE 1, we had 1 character class for each of the combinations of strength, dexterity, and intelligence. When looking at the design of PoE 2, though, we realized that many of the new skills that we were trying to design just didn't really fit thematically with the existing classes that we have. Being a spellcaster with a bear form makes sense for strength int, but it just doesn't really sound like something a
he's a
Templar
gorilla
would
with
do.
4 arms, man.
We realized that since we had new mechanics for every attribute combination, it actually made sense to design a new character class to explore the new themes. In PoE 2, every attribute combination has 2 classes associated with it. Strength int has the Templar or the Druid. On dexterity, you have the Ranger or the more spear-focused Huntress. And on dex int, you have the Shadow and the Monk,
I love the way
which Mark is playing here. Each class has its own 3 ascendancies that let you further specialize the class in a way that only that class has access to, but they both start at the same location on the passive tree. The quest rewards you are offered on the 2 variants are tailored to the class, but of course, this is PoE. You can still mix and match anything to your heart's content.
Yeah, this seems a little bit more complicated.
Looks like we've come across the boss for this area. In PoE 2, every area of the campaign contains a boss of at least this difficulty.
Oh, did that drop gold?
Bosses to fight as you make your way through the campaign, and they all have unique mechanics.
Got like an iframe roll. Was that in PoE 1?
That's probably a
right?
It's probably a movement spell ability.
Oh, the roll. I don't know, man. His skills aren't being activated. It looks like an actual dodge.
As you've been watching from Mark fighting here, you've probably noticed that melee combat in PoE 2 is a very different feel than before.
You might be
We've
right.
done a lot of things to add mobility to combat. Practically every melee skill in PoE 2 has some kind of movement built into it. But the Monk in particular is a melee fighter who specializes in mobility over brute strength.
Dang. Yeah, that HUD might be just static, because
So, as Mark
he's
has
not.
been playing,
yeah, you
might
might be
notice
right.
these blue markers over enemies. Mark has a skill equipped called Killing Palm. Whenever an enemy has a blue indicator over it, it means that the monster has low enough life to cull with Killing Palm. Successfully executing the cull will give you a power charge. This is an important skill.
Oh no, he's losing
Many
mana.
of the skills interact with power charges. One of the great things about the skill is that it has a built-in dash forward, which makes it much easier to target the skill right at the point where you need it. We've done a huge amount of work in PoE 2 to make using skills like this feel satisfying. If you're accidentally
Also, when they've got the blue flame on them, you can
the
execute.
skill will automatically lock onto the cullable target, and it will even do a small amount of pathfinding around obstacles. We really want to make sure that when you've got an opportunity to use the skill, nothing is going to get in your way. Once you have some power charges, you're going to need some skills to power up. A great follow-up is Falling Thunder. Falling Thunder without a power charge just creates a relatively small lightning AoE in front of you. But if you do it with power charges, it turns into a pack clearer with a large number of extra projectiles.
Oh.
One thing to notice here is that, like almost every melee skill in PoE 2, Falling Thunder has a little bit of extra movement built in, just in case you need it. Use the skill within range and you just do the flip in place. But use it at a larger range and your character will move forward while executing it, getting you into position without any time penalty. In PoE 2, you also get a short period to redirect your target. Notice how you can start the skill facing one way, then whip the mouse sideways to land the skill in a different direction?
That's pretty crazy, actually.
Now, in order to get power charges, you're going to first need to get some lower life monsters into a cullable range. You've got a few options if you want to charge right in. Whirling Assault is great. It doesn't do much damage per hit, but it covers a lot of ground. And notice how you can turn as you do it? Generally speaking, you never lose control of your character in PoE 2. If you make a turn at the right time, you can get a couple of extra hits on the monsters, getting them in range of your cull. Follow up with a Killing Palm, and then finish off the rest of the pack with your Falling Thunder.
Oh.
That's really interesting, like, nuance to the moves.
Yeah. I'm curious for the content creators to play and, like, see how
We've
that
now
actually
entered the
feels.
Val Mechanarium.
How it,
This is
how
the
it
place
feels
where
and
the
how it is
Val
in
built the
practice.
various
It's one thing to be
constructs
like,
that
you
they
can do
rely
this,
on
but
to
then
power their
in practice, like, how does it
Yeah.
actually feel?
Now this is a find. A Val ruin that hasn't been looted? I wonder why
Is that
nobody's
Alva?
been in here before.
One useful feature we've added is the ability to call in NPCs to where you are to give you more information
Alva's
or
back?
help you with quest objectives, rather than always having to go back to town. In this case, we've called in Alva to find out what to do.
Looks too complicated to you.
mechanism,
Well, it's one of those things I don't think
If
it.
powered with a small soul
Use it or
core,
don't,
it
you know what I
could
mean?
open
Like
that door. There should definitely be soul cores somewhere around here. They had to power these constructs somehow.
As Alva just said, we need to find a small soul core to open this door. Let's explore.
Get back!
If you
Alva's
want
a
to shave
time
off some life
traveler.
without getting too
True.
close to some of the more dangerous monsters, a great option is Wind Blast. Wind Blast also doesn't do too much damage, but it keeps enemies back. The closer they are, the farther they're pushed back. So it's a great option for keeping smaller but higher damage enemies at bay.
Dude, the moves
Note
and
that the bigger the
animations
enemy
look
is, the less
so
they'll be pushed
good.
back.
They look
trying to push
really
back some
good,
giants
yeah.
isn't going to be as effective. And there's the soul core. Let's get back to the door.
I hope they show, like, quote-unquote Endgame.
It might not exist yet, man.
Consider me impressed.
Because, like, this is something you will experience most likely, maybe, for, like, an hour.
Now, if you need to defeat tougher enemies, it might be time to break
But,
up
like,
some
I
of the
want to
other
see what it
monsters
looks like
amongst
when you're, like,
Glacial
grinding
Cascade
maps.
creates a wave of ice that moves slowly in front of the player. It's pretty ineffective against fast-moving monsters because most of the damage occurs right at the end of the wave, and so a lot of monsters will just walk right by it. But if you can find a way to make a monster stop at just the right place, it can be very effective. In order to do that, you're probably going to want to freeze some monsters. The monk has a few different tools to do this. A fairly simple option is to get right in the monster's face with Ice Strike. Ice Strike doesn't do too much damage at the first 2 hits, but attack 3 times in sequence, and you can get off a combo that has a much higher chance to freeze.
See how the ice is
Get in there
growing
with
on
the
the
freeze,
staff?
then roll back and finish the job with Glacial Cascade. Now, remember how Glacial Cascade is that extra damaging spike at the end? If you hit a frozen enemy with that spike, it shatters the ice on the enemy and does a devastating amount of damage. This is a really great combo against bosses, as you'll see later. Oh yeah, and I've just been casually mentioning rolling around. Did I forget to mention that in PoE 2 we added a dodge roll to every character?
There you go,
Just
Sam.
press spacebar at any
Told
time to
you!
roll.
That's
there's no cooldown
fucking
and no
crazy.
limitations.
There's no cooldown.
Yeah.
And it even has pathfinding in it, so you don't get stuck on anything. When you...
He got stuck something right there.
If something hits you, you're going to feel it, but most things aren't going to hit you. And that's because while you're rolling, projectiles and melee strikes will always miss. You'll have to roll out of the way of a slam that has AoE, but anyone swinging a sword or throwing a fireball is going to miss. Now, another important function of dodge roll is it lets you cancel out of any skill at any time. This makes it so you don't feel like you're getting stuck during a long animation when something's about to hit you. It really changes how skills with longer attack and cast times play, and makes dodge roll a very reliable feeling way to avoid attacks. So, that's one way to get out of the way of damage, but the monk specializes in mobility, so it would make sense that he would have some more. Wave of Frost is one of our new attacks with a retreat built right in. You move backwards and throw out a cold attack with a significant freeze. A great thing about this is that it puts you at a good distance to follow up with a Glacial Cascade and do a whole pile of damage.
See, he's still earning XP super fast, so like this is pretty low level. This is Act 3, I think is what they said.
Yeah, he said 3, so it's halfway through the game. My boy's in God mode, by the way. I'm still taking hits. There's no death. Oh, no, never mind.
Oh. Yeah, he took some damage. Dude, it looks like there's so much more happening from the
Another skill you can use
character
to get some extra freeze is Shattering Palm.
that it
Shattering
doesn't
Palm
look
is a
like
palm
PoE
strike
in a
with
lot of
small
ways.
ice bomb on the target. Kill
Probably
or
why
deal
they
enough
split
damage
the
to the
game.
target and the bomb will explode, doing some damage and a significant freeze. It's a great option against bosses where the wave of ice might not be enough to get that freeze off. But you really want to get, but you still really want to use Glacial Cascade to get the damage bonus.
Bro has 8 skill points. Yeah, he does.
Yeah, he does. I have so many questions.
The final skill we're going to show you today is Flicker Strike. It's a monk
Ask him, I'll
skill
see what I
and
can
another
answer
skill
for
that
you.
consumes
Flicker.
power charges.
So Flicker Strike is a big spell right
If
now.
you've played PoE 1 before, you know what to expect.
Oh, sick. So Flicker Strike is terrible for streamers.
It's a great finish of a tough boss fight,
Yeah.
if you were able to get some power charges beforehand.
Because you blink from mob to mob.
Because of them, you know.
And so your screen just flashes.
It's just crazy movement.
Imagine blinking from mob to mob 5 times a second.
Yeah. It gets wild. You can do like, I think you could do like 15 or 20 attacks a second with Flicker.
Well, the thing I find, like, I felt like in PoE, like at Endgame, you're only using like 1 or 2 skills
Here we have
on loot,
Blackjaw,
and then it's all
former
passive.
overseer
But
of the
here he's like
Mechanarian.
using everything.
When the Val fell, he was turned to stone and now guards the area. In order to take down this boss, we're going to need all the tools in the monk's arsenal, especially the combo of Freeze and Glacial Cascade. Now, if you're a PoE 1 player, you might think you can't rely on Freeze because there's so many bosses that are immune to it. But in PoE 2, that's changing significantly. In PoE 1, Freeze is a binary mechanic. An attack freezes the target, or it doesn't. What this basically means is that in PoE 1, we were forced to add freeze immunity to many bosses because freeze just trivialized them.
Oh, wow.
Because of that, freezing was something you could only really rely on while pack clearing, and not something you could use as a core part of your build for boss fighting. In PoE 2, though, all crowd control mechanics now have internal meters that allow you to build up to a freeze or stun, or whatever other CC mechanic that you're using.
Nice.
It's a little bit like poise from games like Elden Ring, though the meters tend to be a lot smaller than those games. When you freeze an enemy, it increases the amount of freeze you need to do to get another freeze, but the increased difficulty bleeds away slowly. More freeze will always.
You hear him say copied Elden Ring?
But this system means that you will
crazy.
not get out. It will not get out of control in party play
It's
or
game of the
interact badly
year.
with other CC mechanics, allowing us to let these kinds of mechanics actually work against all bosses.
That'll get nerfed.
I will always be a sucker for a character or an enemy just like breathing fire or like making fire happen on their sword or their weapon.
Dude, lighting the weapons on fire every time.
It's so great.
Every time. Especially when it's like a phase 2 mechanic and they're like, all right,
I never get
I'm tired of playing with you. My sword is now going to be lit on fire.
Oh.
A little spicy.
I just want to see like how fast this game gets.
It's not all about speed, JP. God, look how beautiful this game is. You just want to blaze right through it.
He's like the son.
Oh! You got that's actually pretty. That's actually pretty interesting.
That's gonna be iconic.
All right, let's take two.
That wasn't supposed to happen.
This might be a good time to mention that in PoE 2, if you die to the boss, you have to start again from the start. There's no boss cheesing.
Oh. Is he gonna do some dev trickery?
Interesting.
1 second. One technical
High
issue.
stakes. You know what? Respect to them for not having like a dev mode where like
Just
you know the health goes down to a point, but then it's impossible for them to die or something.
That's
All right, we good?
interesting.
Back to the stream. All right.
That guy's shitting himself right now.
All right.
Round 2.
Let's go.
Well, it's.
Do we ever balance that? Like, come on.
Wait, is the arena different?
I don't know. No, I think it's the same.
Oh, really?
It's a different camera angle, right?
Is it?
Yeah.
I thought the entrance was from the south.
Yeah, I think he regen the dungeon and TP'd to the boss. The map probably shifted, right?
Maybe.
I actually am a fan of him dying there because it shows that it's actually hard.
Yes, it's actually hard, and that they're not showing you like some sort of doctored up, you know, specific things in place for them as devs. You know what I mean? To show it off. I wouldn't fault devs for doing that to show it off,
Yeah,
but it's,
no, I mean,
it's
that's
much more
standard.
raw and real. You're seeing the game as it will be played. You know what I mean? Even if it's a liability potentially for, you know, what just happened to throw off like a schedule for a stream, I still respect them doing that.
That's the move that killed him, dude.
Yeah.
As long as he doesn't die again.
Uh-oh. The flaming web.
Yeah. Give him your energy. Oh.
That little triple attack.
Nervous, like, presenters, it's like, oh, please don't die again. It's alright. He's got the anger now. He's got the revenge.
Get the freeze.
Yeah, dude, can I just place Blackjaw?
Oh.
Look at my guy.
Oh, I hope you don't get gun shy.
Uh-oh. Oh, I thought the boss bugged out.
Holy.
I'm getting nervous every time this guy gets hit now. Because I don't know, like, the severity of the attack.
I think he's fucking nervous, too.
Oh!
F-bombed. It's a casual F-bomb. So it looks like that's a phase 2 move. He's like half health, he starts doing it.
I believe. I believe.
He's got it. Wait, why is he going over there? Oh. He wanted the room to roll.
His ass.
Dude, it looks really good.
Give me a freeze. Come on.
It does look good.
Uh-oh, here he goes. Well, that's a big AoE, like 360 fleet.
Yeah.
Oh, hey,
I'm starting to see the pattern more. Go on, son. Go on.
Uh-oh. Woo! The crowd's gonna go crazy when he wins. Here's a 3-strike. Oh! Oh, he dodged out of that too. He should have it. He should have it now. Oh, he's got another.
Don't get greedy. Yeah. He's playing it safe. He's playing it safe. That's a good call.
Get it. It's so good. There you go.
After this.
No.
Oh!
Get him. Okay.
No!
All right.
He's over there like...
Second time's the charm.
Nice.
Trying not to pass out. It's so funny.
Blackjaw has dropped a consumable quest item here called the Flame Core. It's a permanent +10 to Spirit. In PoE 2, we really want to make sure that you feel rewarded for exploration.
What does that mean?
It wouldn't be much good if we made all these awesome optional bosses if we didn't have something great to find for killing them. One of the things you might find for killing a boss is permanent stat bonuses for your character.
I wonder what Spirit does.
What?
All right, now because this random area is different, Mark will have to find his way to the exit the hard way.
This is, because I died, this is no longer rehearsed at all.
Oh, this is no longer rehearsed at all. Nice.
Yeah, he basically rehearsed the map that he died on.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's actually starting to speed up now. You can tell that he's like I don't want to say that the other I don't want to say the other stuff wasn't real, but this looks real. He's actually playing now. He's not like,
well, yeah, because
I gotta
he has
look at
to,
the
'cause
skills.
it's no longer the it's no longer the rehearsed map.
Exactly,
right? Like
exactly. And this looks fucking awesome. Like
which
this is
cool.
great.
It has the unintended effect of, you know, perfect example is you're now sitting there like, all right, this looks more like, you know.
Yeah, because it's how I would play, right? Like it's not a
right.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Is there a rare or something there? Is that why you can't go past it?
He's just trying really hard not to die.
To use those killing palm
I think that's a rare mob up there on the top left, so you can't go into it. I gotta know about this gold.
He literally avoided it.
Did they get rid of the currency system? Oh, he's
no,
dead.
he's trapped.
Oh!
Woo!
Look how much more on the edge of our seat we are watching, though.
We saw a transmute orb? Okay. What the fuck is gold for then?
I think you got completely lost there.
I have no idea where I am.
All right. Yeah, there we go. All right, here we are. Here's the exit.
I'm gonna die to these sentinels somehow.
I feel like his buddy on mic is just like really nervous.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Understandably so.
They got 500,000 people watching.
All right.
Yeah.
Straight through. All right.
Yeah!
Clap is in the chat.
He did it.
In order to help with the next area, we're going to call in a sorceress. I'd like to welcome Octavian to the stage, who's going to join the party with Mark, so they can play through together.
Nice.
True co-op.
All right, 1 second.
He's also very nervous.
He does, yeah.
All right.
Looks a little nervous.
I mean, they're showing off like their super secret project for the first time to half a million
for them
people.
right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it literally
it's
is.
the Super Bowl.
Sorceress is themed around pure elemental destruction. Let's
Dude,
have
that
a
portal
nervous
looks
too.
great. Show the portal again. Oh, I want to see the portal. Look at that.
There you go.
This is the
that
largest
was
sword
nice.
war I've ever seen. With this, we could power the canal systems. But it isn't charged.
I'm getting hyped.
There is still latent energy in this.
The quest
mechanism
icon is
from
like
its
the
ancient
Path of
operation.
Exile sword. That's cool.
These lines in the stonework
Instead of an exclamation
should
point.
lead to generators. You might need to find some more soul cores to spin them up.
Well, this is
But
cool.
everything looks
This
to
is
be
a
in
lot cooler than
surprisingly decent
I mean, I knew it was gonna be cool, but I didn't think it was gonna be
The
for
golems
me.
have been maintaining it.
Same.
In any case, it should still function.
Skip the lore. What are you
We'll have to
doing?
remove that
You gotta go
large
farm
hole
mobs,
in
man.
the
You gotta listen to this shit, Alpha. Shut the fuck up.
We have some skills here you're probably going to recognize if you've played
I
PoE
like
1
story
before.
and
but
voice
they
acting.
feel a bit different now. Spark is great in these tight passages since it bounces around.
Look how good this looks.
Really allow it to hit an entire room full of targets.
Sork
For a more
looks
single
so
target focused
good.
skill,
That looks
Arc is a
great.
great choice. It does much more damage than the first target that you hit.
What the hell was that?
Now, if you find yourself surrounded, it might be a good idea to use Ice Nova.
Yeah, use Ice Nova.
You and slows them down with a chill. Just be careful. Getting up close and personal isn't the ideal place for a sorceress to be. She doesn't have the defenses of a more melee-oriented character.
Dude, there's so much shit going on.
Use Arctic Armor. In PoE 2, Arctic Armor is a buff that builds up as you stand still. You can see the ice crystals forming around the character. They drop off if you walk.
Wow. Dude, that looks so good.
What the hell?
Hit you, they take cold damage and build up to a freeze. So it's a great defense. Just be careful. You have to be standing still for a little while to get the full effect. So trying to start a step using it isn't the best strategy.
Wait, so the sorceress can freeze things, and then the monk can do his like ice shatter move and break the frozen enemies.
Sick of the fact that in PoE 1, basically every character was playing with no mana pool. So we decided to change the way that reservation works. In PoE 2, there's a new resource called Spirit.
I've never seen detail like that.
Oh,
you can use for ongoing effects like Arctic Armor, Heralds, Auras, and Minions.
That's fucking huge. Okay, that doesn't mean anything to you guys.
So your auras don't come out of your mana anymore. They're their own thing.
Starts with 100 Spirit, which is enough for most ongoing effects. But if you want more, you're going to need to get some more Spirit, which is available on mods from items and on the passive tree. But if you're willing to give up your offhand slot, the easiest way to get it is by
That's a great change.
Find out more about that in the items talk later on. Now, if you want to increase the cold damage that you're dealing, you can always use Frost Bomb. It places a bomb on the ground that reduces enemies' cold resistance while it's ticking down. It's a great opportunity to use some cold skills before it explodes. And speaking of cold skills, a great skill to use on monsters with lower cold resistance is Comet.
Okay. That looks
sick. This is a new skill in PoE 2 and it's pretty damn hard. It costs a lot of mana and has a really long cast time, but it's worth the wait. It does a devastating amount of damage. To help you out of danger, your character moves back slightly as it casts. It's pretty hard to hit fast-moving opponents, but it's great on tougher enemies
that looks sick.
Still, or even a larger pack if you're
Look at the little frost, like snowflakes that flicker off of that.
Now, if you run out of mana,
I can't wait to see this in 4K.
I guess in an emergency you could use your
the SFX is amazing.
So where did that come from, you ask? Well, this is a great opportunity to explain the way that we've changed caster weapons in PoE 2. Now, in PoE 1, caster weapons had a default melee attack that nobody used. And because they had that, they also had a bunch of attack mods that would spawn in them that were useless to a caster. In PoE 2, we wanted to clean that up. So each staff now comes with a built-in free-to-cast spell.
Nice.
That's really cool.
Just put it on and spam away to your heart's content. Now, this particular staff is the base type.
That's always a bummer when you have like a cool weapon in similar type of game, and like it's
so
just
that's why
crappy
we've also made a lot of staves with more utility-focused powers for casters to use. Here we have a crystal staff. It has a pretty cool built-in spell called Unleash. Using it slams your staff on the ground and will allow you to triple cast whatever you cast with your next spell. Now, of course, what you're probably going to want to use with that is something powerful, and Comet is a great option.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fucking sick. So staff implicit types now are going to... Okay.
With a cooldown. In general, we really try to avoid using cooldowns because we really hate the feeling that combat is just waiting to cast your next spell. But it does make sense for Unleash since it's free to cast, and it's something we want you to use situationally anyway. Now, if you're facing something tough, you might need to try out Mana Tempest. Mana Tempest creates a circle of power which your character literally hovers over the ground. While in the circle, your mana drains, but it powers up all your spells. Lightning projectiles will fork, beams will chain further, and you also do a lot more damage.
So will I play this? Absolutely. This looks sick.
Oh my god, it looks so cool.
Will I play with JP?
We're just sat here in
not.
silence, just watching.
Probably not with JP. He's gonna go too fast. He won't want me there. I'll play with Strippin if he wants to.
Yeah, man.
So, with all of these skills, here's a great combo to try.
Us
cast Frost Bomb.
rookie adventurers gotta stick together.
Then use Mana Tempest to increase your damage. Follow up with Unleash, and then triple cast Comet to do a truly insane amount of damage.
Dude, the spell effects are just insane.
They're insane. They're
they
legitimately.
really are.
I've never seen this level of detail for SFX for a game like this.
An ARPG.
Yeah, an ARPG. Yeah, sorry, that was I was blanking on.
Where does ghosts come from?
These ghosts.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been some nice effects in previous others, RPGs, but not to this effect. Look at the crystals right there, like just that level of detail.
Instead of dropping specific gems, you can find uncut gems.
Oh.
Just right-click on them and pick whatever skill you want.
Uncut gem?
Whoa! What the fuck? Okay, that's fucking huge.
The gem will come pre-leveled to the level of the area that dropped it. So it's a lot easier to change between skills in PoE 2.
Nice.
This time I think it might be cool to grab one of our meta gems. Meta gems are skills that can have other skills socketed into them, changing how they work.
What?
In this case, we're going to select Cast on Shock.
Oh, so it's like a support
now, let's
gem?
equip this thing in the skill screen and choose which spell to trigger.
What the fuck?
I think Comet might be fun. Now, because Cast on Shock reserves Spirit, we'll need to first disable our Arctic
You tell me I can do that while I'm out and about?
The extra defense or the extra offense of the Cast on Shock using our Spark. In PoE 2, trigger gems use a system of filling up cast time on each trigger. Basically, if a skill has a short cast time, it will trigger really often. And if it has a long cast time, like this Comet here, it will take a lot longer to trigger. You can see on the top left corner that there's a counter that shows you how long until the next trigger.
So when he's doing the lightning spells, the Comet will automatically be cast.
Hopefully he shocks the monsters.
Yeah. I'm just waiting for it to happen.
He's got to shock the monster first. There it goes.
There we go.
There it is, there it is.
And there you have it. That's using Cast on Shock.
That's dope.
We've automatically cast Comet whenever we're using our lightning skills.
Yeah. I'm genuinely impressed. More than I thought I would be.
Yeah, I'm really impressed. This looks amazing.
Look at that, dude.
As power is restored to the Mechanarium, all the constructs are coming back to life. We'll need to fight them on the way back to the charged Soul Core. So, one thing that PoE 1 players might have noticed is this character has both lightning spells and cold spells. That's pretty inefficient, right? It's a big no-no for most builds because any specialization into cold or lightning isn't going to affect the other element. And generic elemental damage increases are not going to be as powerful as focusing on a single element. Well, in PoE 2 we have another major new system to introduce to solve these kinds of problems. And it starts, oddly enough, with weapon swap. Now, in PoE 1, weapon swap isn't really used much for its originally intended purpose. We imagine that people were going to be swapping in and out between different weapons to deal with whatever situation they were in. People just don't do that at all. And a large reason for that is because it's really, really awkward. In PoE 2, we wanted to solve all of that. The staff Octavian is using here has an ice mod on it that makes it great for when he's using his ice spells. But we would also like to be able to make sure that this build works just as well for his lightning spells. If Octavian equips his previous staff in his second weapon set, you can see that it appears on the character's back. Now, we're going to open up the skill screen. If Octavian opens the skill options for his lightning skills, you can see here that you can choose which weapon sets are usable with each skill.
God.
First, we uncheck set 1 from being used by his lightning
and
skills.
it'll just automatically cast?
It'll automatically swap weapons when he presses the button.
Just take a second.
If I can remember where they all are.
Yeah. Now, when we use Spark, the character will automatically switch to the lightning staff on his back and then use the skill. And when Octavian uses his Ice Nova, his character automatically switches to his Ice Staff.
What the fuck? Dude, who's gonna play PoE 1?
You can configure each skill for which set to use, or both if you don't mind which. There's a very short time penalty to switching, so it can be good to leave some skills on both sets if it doesn't matter which weapon set you're using. But we still have a problem, passives. Wouldn't it be nice if we could specialize in both cold and lightning passives on the character? Well, in PoE 2 you can.
Well, but show the skill tree.
Hopefully Mark can deal with those monsters while we do this demo. So, we're on the passive skill screen here, and you can see that we are close to both a cold and a lightning cluster. At the top right of the screen, you can see that we have some weapon set specific points to allocate. If Octavian holds shift, he can allocate set 1 to the cold passives, and then allocate set 2 to the lightning passives.
No way, dude. Okay, that's actually, that's way too complicated.
Check it out. As we use our weapon swap, the skills allocate changes from one build to the other automatically. So So whenever we cast the appropriate spell, the character's
Also
passives
complicated,
reconfigure
but
on the
cool.
fly to the correct build for that spell.
I mean, I love that, but what the fuck?
Now, you
That's
can't do
not.
this with every single passive on your tree. Only points granted from skill books will allow this kind of dual specialization. So you're not going to be changing from a mace slamming warrior into a fire elementalist with the press of a button. But it certainly increases the number of options you have for builds. There's a huge number of places where the system can shine. You could augment your dagger shadow build with traps, or have a great curse set up on your witch with one spec, and then move to your chaos debuff spells with the other, for example. It really opens up your options. Now, another fun metagem to try out is called Barrier Invocation. This works a little bit like the trigger gems I talked about before, but this one charges up as your energy shield is hit by monsters. We're going to put an Ice Nova in this one. The more energy shield you lose, the more charge builds up. We'll just get that one equipped there. Yep. So yeah, the more energy shield you lose, the more charge will build up until the point you're able to cast the socketed skill instantly. There we go. So you lose some, so you lose some energy shield, and at just the right time, invoke Ice Nova to cast all the stacked up copies in one instant cast. If you keep losing shield, you'll build up even more charge for even more casts. So it's a great defensive option in an emergency.
Is it just me, or do those lights look like Bunsen burners?
A little bit, yeah. I'm trying to like weigh against everything they just said about passive. The idea that you could have a weapon that is for mapping and a weapon that is for bossing is very exciting.
Overkill.
But I don't know if like that is pretty complicated.
All we have to do now is
yeah, there's a couple people expressing concerns in my chat that are like, you know, that's really cool, but it kind of puts me off because, you know, there's already a lot of complicated systems as a new player, so it could become overwhelming.
Over, what the?
Whoa!
Don't die this time,
He
guys.
left?
That thing looks sick.
Yeah.
The animations for every, like even the boss animations and stuff is so clean.
Nice.
It's very clean, yeah. Oh my god, look at that.
Yo, that's
attack.
Away from the wall.
It's not just him now, too. You gotta remember they're doing co-op.
Frozen.
Yeah.
I forgot that, too. When I was watching, I was like, hope he lives. Oh, wait, there's another person.
Yeah, there's on the left-hand side is the party.
Yeah.
He's trying to move him away from the wall with the staff.
Look at that. That free stuff is already so crazy strong. Whoa! That was a cool ability.
Frozen?
It's pretty exciting that when they use big abilities, the game just doesn't like freeze.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, PoE does have that problem every once in a while.
Frozen again?
Getting real lucky with those freeze procs this time.
All skill.
Luck has nothing to do with it.
It's all skill!
When do you think it launches? About a year. I don't know. I honestly
Didn't they
don't
say
know.
summer? Am I crazy? Or did they say summer 2024?
Are they, I would imagine they're set to talk about that?
I'm sure, yeah.
That was 14.
Yeah, 14
Wasn't it-
is next summer.
Wasn't that also this though?
No, they don't have a date yet. They haven't said anything. Dude, look at this spell abilities. That was wild.
I know.
Triangle?
Oh, that was so cool.
Oh.
Yeah, this boss looks
got
great.
Nice.
All the bosses they've shown look great.
They look fantastic.
They're so much more fun than the rare mobs that exist in the game right now where you just walk up and kill them real
So
quick.
that's Path of Exile 2. These areas, as well as around half
Rumors
of each
say
of the
this
first 4
holiday
acts,
season,
are available to play at the
that'd
3
be
demo
great.
zones around ExileCon. Now, if you're physically here at this event and you get to play the demo, just remember, it's a different game than before. It's a lot harder. You're probably going to run the first pack of monsters and just die. I really recommend you read the signs. They have good advice on how to combine your skills effectively, and remember, dodge rolls on spacebar, use it. You're just going to die otherwise. So your next question is likely to be, when is the beta? Well,
there you go.
We're in our last year of development, but we're still finishing acts, adding skills, and balancing everything. The closed beta is going to start on June 7th, 2024.
I told
Path
you.
of Exile 2 has been a long time coming.
Year
We're incredibly
out.
excited to be near the
Holy
finish line,
shit.
but we're just not quite there yet. We're determined not to rush this and make sure we get everything right. In the meantime, there's a lot in store for PoE 1. I'll hand back over to Chris, and he's going to talk about what's coming up. Thank you very much.
Good. That was such a good presentation.
Yeah.
That blew
it gives
me away.
me time to maybe wet my beak with a little bit of PoE 1 if I want to.
Yeah.
Leave now.
That blew me away, dude.
Yeah.
So that demo was very hard for them to do in person. Like, I am very impressed it went that well. So as Jonathan explained, Path of Exile 1 will continue to be its own unique game once Path of Exile 2 comes out.
Yeah, you guys have a year
to update it with
finish Baldur's
expansions
Gate
and
3 now.
leaks going forward. And because accounts and microtransactions are shared between the two games,
Why,
and their
I'm gonna finish
expansion
that in a week.
releases are offset from each other, it's super easy to jump between them and effectively play both if you want. So I'm going off script for a second here and just going to explain this a bit better. Imagine we release a Path of Exile 2 expansion, right? So everyone dives in and plays it. You give it, say, out of the 13-week cycle, you're going to play for, some hardcore players play for the first few weeks. Some people play for most of the time. We're going to aim a Path of Exile 1 expansion to come out towards the end of that cycle, say 4 or 5 weeks from the end, which also lasts for 3 months. So because Path of Exile 2 has more content and is a significantly larger game, it will mean that you can play Path of Exile 2 for the majority of the cycle, and then either keep playing if you want to keep playing Path of Exile 2, or jump into Path of Exile 1 when its league launches and enjoy that, either for the entire period or until the next Path of Exile 2 one comes out. And of course, because your purchases are shared, if you were to buy supporter packs or microtransactions in either, they're just available on your characters in the other. Speaking of Path of Exile 1 expansions, we've got one coming out in just 3 weeks, on August 18th.
So you know what's really rare in this industry? Good business practices.
The Ancestors.
Oh, new league, 3 weeks.
Souls such as yours do not go quietly into the night. They thirst
Is
for
it
battle.
going to be a boss league?
They yearn to prove themselves. Welcome to the halls of the dead. Earn your place among us. Under Hinikora's watchful eye, test your mettle against the greatest warriors who ever lived.
So,
prove yourself.
It's a boss
The
league.
trial of the ancestor.
no.
Oh my god, what?
It's
an auto battle?
Oh god. Passive skill tattoos? That's a lot of items.
This is all you, JP. We don't even know what we're looking at right now, dude.
That's true.
Itemized set 14 new support gems?
It sounds like a lot.
Chieftain's a
In the
class
end,
rework.
Only one can become champion. Will it be you?
Okay, now he's going to explain everything a little slower. That was a lot.
In the Karui Afterlife, the fallen chieftains of each tribe participate in a tournament called the Trial of the Ancestors. You will journey to the afterlife, assemble your own team, and enter the tournament to battle those chieftains and earn valuable rewards. As you play through areas in the Ancestor Challenge League, you'll find tradable silver coins. Using them will take you to the Karui Afterlife, where you will encounter Navali, who you may remember from the Prophecy League. Each coin allows you to play a match of the tournament. You start the tournament with a basic team consisting of 3 warriors. The tournament is double elimination, meaning you're allowed to have 1 loss without consequence. A second loss eliminates you from the tournament. Your team will compete against 10 other tribes, and you choose who you're going to challenge next out of the teams left in the tournament. When you start a match, you see the configuration of the enemy team and get to place your team of warriors on the battlefield to challenge theirs. You and your party of exiles will play alongside your warriors. So while this league does have many elements of an auto-battler, you're right there fighting alongside them. During a match, when a warrior dies, they respawn at their totem after a short time. If their totem is destroyed, then they are instantly killed and can't respawn. The team that destroys all of the opposing totems wins. If you're playing a hardcore character though, don't worry. Hinokora, the goddess of death, is watching over you and will restore your soul to your body, so you can't permanently die in the afterlife. Like that. In the Trial of the Ancestors, strategy and tactics are key. Every unit has its own strengths and weaknesses that must be utilized to win matches. The turtle is really slow and really tanky. It's perfect for either defensive positioning to stop flankers or offensive positioning to tank hits for you if you're pushing through the middle. It's not great in the center or flank positions due to its slow movement speed. The Tuatara is a quick and deceptive unit, which is relatively well balanced for all positions. This version of the Tuatara has a stealth ability, which makes it perfect for the flanking position to sneak through enemy defenses and take out unprotected totems from the side. The Goliath of Night is a disruptor unit, and it's ideally placed in a center position to intercept enemies that are chasing you. You can also allocate it to defenses so that it disrupts enemies that are trying to kill your totems by stunning them. So in this match here, we've set up a Tuatara in a flanking position, a turtle on defense to guard our totems, and a Goliath to follow us as we attack up the middle. Our plan is to work with the Goliath to distract the enemy front line so the flanking Tuatara can get through and destroy some of their totems. Teamwork. Upon winning a match, you earn favor and other rewards. I'll talk about the other rewards shortly. There are a lot. You have a separate amount of favor with each tribe, and you can spend it by talking to their chieftain to recruit warriors and purchase field items and equipment that your team can use.
Dude, this shit is...
Each tribe has specific specialities.
Really
For example, Hinokora's tribe manipulates life and death. Rongo Kurai's tribe is slow and tanky, with an emphasis on stuns and knockbacks. You can recruit warriors from many different tribes and mix and match them together into your team based on what you need. Field items are items that are placed on the battlefield and can be activated during the match to, for example, revive a warrior or heal your entire team. If a field item isn't consumed within a match, it persists on to the next match. But your warriors, their equipment, and your field items are all wiped between tournaments. You enter each tournament fresh. Your success in a tournament updates your overall ranking, which
I'm
helps you
worried
in
a little
better
bit
rewards
because
in
of how
subsequent
quiet
ones.
Strippin and
Speaking
Gassy
of
are.
rewards, let's discuss the good part, what you can earn
The
for
idea that
succeeding
I
at the
said
Trial
this
of the
was going to be
Ancestors.
the
You can tell this
biggest
gets me
league
excited.
for
Okay.
PoE ever.
You
After
get a reward as you win
D4,
each round of the tournament, and these rewards are visible when you're
might be
selecting
wrong.
which tribe you want to play against. They'll help inform your decision, as some of them are regular rewards and some of them are
You guys okay?
and some of them are exclusive new
I'm
rewards
good.
you can only get from the Trial of the Ancestors.
good, man.
I'm literally tripping over my words to get to the part where I can explain
It's
tattoos.
an auto battler. I get that part.
Okay. The Ancestors reward you with special tattoos that are not applied to your skin, but they're engraved on your soul. This process can transform what your attribute skills on the passive tree do, basically the attribute highway nodes generally. The regular ones can only be applied to basic attribute skills and allow you to convert your tree's attribute highways into something more
My
useful for you.
food's here. I'm gonna go
For
get my
example,
food.
this one converts a small dexterity
you're gonna
skill
miss
into
it.
movement speed.
No, I'm not going to miss
Each
any of that.
tribe has
He's
its own
gonna explain for
exclusive
like 10
passive
minutes.
tattoos. This tattoo converts a small strength skill into additional fire resistance. This one converts a small intelligence skill into additional lightning damage. And this one converts a small strength skill into one that summons a minion when you take a savage hit from a unique enemy. But don't go overboard on the number of skills you convert with tattoos, as you'll probably need at least some of your attributes left to equip items. Each of the 10 tribes has an exclusive unique item that you can earn. These rarely show up as rewards for defeating that tribe in a match. Katava's Hunger is a unique majestic plate that you can earn by defeating the Katava tribe. As you can see, it grants an immense amount of life for a single item, providing you don't have any life on any other pieces of your equipment. While this is tricky to accomplish, it also frees up all those other potential life slots to be something else that benefits your build, making it pure upside. This amulet is a unique item you can earn by defeating the Arohongui tribe. It has the powerful effect of causing your flasks to instantly recover life and mana whenever you're low. This could potentially be a powerful panic button, or maybe you want to build around permanently being on low life or mana, so all of your flask usage is instant.
I don't know if you've ever seen it on TikTok, but like the trend where it's like the girl goes,
not only receive
men who don't have any hoes,
match, but Hinokora
where
will
are
also
you?
give you a choice.
Where are you? Then hard cut to him talking about this stuff.
Next. Sorry, button didn't work. Of 3 additional exclusive items. Let's have a look at some of the things you may be offered.
Whoa.
First up, there are 4 unique items that exclusively come from Hinokora for completing the tournament. This belt, for example, lists a plethora of really powerful properties, both beneficial and detrimental. While you're wearing the belt, the property shifts around every 5 seconds. You never know what's going to happen next. Will you always crit, always evade, never evade?
What?
Maybe you're able to find some ways to build around the detrimental effects to create as much upside as possible. Hinokora also has a selection of special, more advanced passive tree tattoos that you can only receive from her. This one transforms a 30 intelligence notable attribute skill into one that increases the level of all of your intelligence gems. You're only allowed 1 copy of the specific attribute combination tattoo on a tree.
From myself.
Hinokora can also award you with a new type of item called an omen. These are small items that sit in your inventory until a condition is met, at which point they are consumed and something happens. In this case, when you reach 25% life, your flasks are all replenished. Now don't worry, each player can only consume 1 omen per combat area, so you don't have any reason to fill your entire inventory with them. This one creates a portal on death. We made it for me. It won't try to save your life, but it will save you some time. This one grants you Soul Eater when you level up. It's definitely worth carrying around for that occasional massive power boost. Omens are tradable but hard to get, so use them carefully. I shudder to think about how much this one is going to be worth in the presence of those incredibly rare unique weapons from 320. Now note, going off script again here, back in the day, when we had stuff like the Prophecy and so on that let you upgrade to rare forcibly on a specific base type, we had to block the good items by putting crap uniques on the, sorry, I meant upgrade to unique. We put crap uniques on that base type so that you couldn't get it every time. Well, we stopped doing that, so a lot of the uniques that were upgraded in 320 are just the only thing on the base type. So items like this let you deterministically get something quite valuable, hence they are quite rare. The most exciting one, though. Finally, Hinokora can offer you a lock of her hair.
I don't understand fucking shit about what he's saying, man.
I was going to say, he's saying a lot of words.
I'm saying you're eating a Big Mac, dude.
This means, for
I have
example,
nothing but respect for this guy. He clearly knows
what
what he's
the
doing.
fuck?
You know what I mean?
JP's losing his mind.
What
My
the
chat's
fuck?
losing their mind.
Into your crafting pipeline with powerful consequences. The Trial of the Ancestors offers a wide selection of valuable new rewards as you complete matches and tournaments. We really look forward to seeing what strategies you develop for building, equipping, carefully placing, and playing alongside your tribe. So that's the new Challenge League, but Path of Exile expansions contain more than just a new league every 3 months. In each update, we also augment Path of Exile's endgame and shift the metagame with new gems and balance changes. This expansion is no exception. I'm going to explain the other changes in a medium amount of detail. I'm conscious that we have both new and existing players. For new players, I'm going to try to include some extra content to help make the changes more understandable. You can find out all the detail in the patch notes and other information we'll be posting in the few weeks before release.
TLDR, if you get any of those items you just showed, you sell them. Right, got it.
Expands Path of Exile's endgame. In December last year, we released an expansion called The Forbidden Sanctum, which introduced the Sanctum Challenge League. This league was a roguelike game set within Path of Exile where you would randomly explore a randomly generated sanctum 1 room at a time, alongside your regular play. You'd pick which rooms you wanted to explore out of several options and accumulate beneficial boons and detrimental afflictions that made your run easier and harder, respectively.
I mean, my boy's reading half the library right now.
Would it shock you to know that he's actually talking slower than what he normally does?
In this expansion, the Forbidden Sanctum is back.
No.
Where's he from?
Mars.
I think New Zealand, right?
I've really been looking forward to this one. We're reintroducing the Sanctum as core content in Path of Exile's endgame. You'll initially meet Divinia, the Sanctum NPC, in Act 10. Sanctums are now tradable items that you can find while playing maps in the endgame.
Interesting.
A forbidden tome represents a whole floor of the sanctum, and its rooms can be played back to back, or you can take breaks between them and do something else if you choose. Upon successfully completing that sanctum floor, the next floor is generated as a tradable item with all of the state of your sanctum run built in. This means that the item stores what boons and afflictions you had, what rewards you've locked in, and how much resolve you have left. You can then either play this floor or trade it to someone else if it feels more beneficial. For example, let's say you manage to lock in a really valuable reward. The example here is a Mirror of Calandra, but you'll also notice that, do I have a laser pointer? It doesn't work on the board. Okay, 1 resolve. This is an example here where the player has a very good reward locked in, but a massive pile of dangerous afflictions and only 1 resolve on them. If you don't feel capable of completing the rest of the sanctum from this point, then it would normally be a write-off, right? If you gave this to me, no way am I getting that mirror. But you can now trade the sanctum state to someone else who is willing to pay for the chance to earn the mirror, or lose it.
That's kind of cool.
You can look at expected value in economics,
it's a good way of handling sanctum.
Mirror. So you trade it for like 5 chaos to someone, they run it and lose their chaos. Your relics, which act as passive bonuses within the sanctum, are locked in for the run when you start the first floor and can't be changed for the rest of the run. Speaking of relics, they're now tradable and have been rebalanced around this. To those of you wondering, we have decided against bringing back sanctified relics for now. A complete sanctum run now requires killing the final boss, Lycia, in both her first and second form. She will always drop a unique relic, and these have been reworked and replaced.
Dude, look at the summons. They're literally like...
An important aspect of the new sanctum balance is that your primary defenses now have some effect on protecting your resolve. Your armor allows you to mitigate resolve loss, and your evasion grants you a chance to avoid resolve loss entirely, a lot like how armor and evasion work.
That's big.
Your energy shield grants you Resolve Aegis, which is a mechanic that works similarly to how Energy Shield behaves for life. In light of the new defensive opportunities and learnings from the original Challenge League, we've rebalanced the difficulty of Sanctum, especially in later floors, and have worked to add more monster and room variety to runs. We've added new boons and afflictions themed around the new defensive mechanics, and have rebalanced many of the other ones.
Lustrous
like other optional endgame systems that
you guys are seeing
items,
like
players who don't want to play Sanctum can trade their Sanctums to other players in exchange for an
what
item
you're seeing is old leagues that are being brought back into the core.
Can generate a lot of rewards.
I mean, this was the last one, wasn't it? I played this one.
I don't know if it was Sanctum.
Sanctum isn't the only improvement that Trial of the Ancestors brings to Path of Exile's endgame.
Yeah, I played
We're
Sanctum.
also introducing 16 new Atlas Keystone passives to the Atlas passive tree. As a quick summary for new players joining us, the Atlas tree is a system that allows you to customize your endgame experience in
That's
Path
only
of
about
Exile.
a third of it.
As you complete different maps, you
Davey, have you seen the clip of Sips seeing this for the first time and closing the game?
Behavior of different content you encounter in
It's
in-game
so
maps
good.
to make it more difficult or more rewarding, or to behave
Sips
entirely
plays
differently.
PoE for the first
The
time.
system allows
He
you to
opens the
double
skill
down
tree,
on
he
the
sees
content you
it,
enjoy
he
and
just
avoid
ends
content
stream.
you don't.
He just ends
Keystones are really
stream.
impactful passives that totally change how in-game systems
He
behave.
kept playing though.
Usually they
Yeah, he did, but it was
Usually
really
they have
funny.
an element of give and take and require you
That
to come
stuff
up with new
is not
strategies to
that
take
bad when you
advantage of
actually
them.
play the game.
Each of these 16 new Atlas Keystones changes how you might
I'm
interact
just gonna
with
follow
Path of
build
Exile's
guides.
endgame.
Yeah, you don't.
Let's have a look at some of them now.
I'm gonna turn off
We
brain
reveal
and
the rest
follow
of
build
them
guides.
That's
before
exactly
the release
right.
of Trial of the Ancestors in a few weeks.
Someone else already did the thinking for me.
Extreme
It's okay.
archaeology completely changes how you play expedition encounters. Instead of placing a series of regular explosives, you now place one gigantic explosive. Every single chest or monster in the blast radius is affected by every remnant in that radius.
Nice.
Cool.
Speaker of the Dead makes it so that tormented spirits can possess you rather than possessing monsters. Boosting your stats instead. While possessed, you can touch monsters just like a spirit can, making them stronger and more rewarding. It's kind of getting silly at this point, isn't it? Blight is like a tower defense minigame inside Path of Exile. The Cassia's Pride keystone makes it so that Blight monsters take significantly less damage from players and significantly more damage from Blight towers. This basically lets you go all in playing it like an actual tower defense game. Because we can. Lucid Dreams makes it so that Val side areas in your maps are no longer corrupted, meaning that you can use currency items to change their mods. That's right, when you encounter a Val side area, the keystone lets you craft it.
That's wild.
Yeah, so we rebalanced the side area mods, we've improved reward outcomes, and we've made the downside mods a bit more punishing, you know, just to make it interesting if you try to go for the good outcomes.
Like, chat's just a combination of question marks and people screaming, what the fuck?
You may also rarely encounter a unique Val side area.
Yeah, there's some people that know what's going on, and then others are like, huh?
Between 1 and 3 extra
I mean,
random map
I
bosses
feel like
when you
they're
are
just
fighting
doubling
witness
down
map
on the
bosses.
craziness.
This
They really just be doing shit to do
keystones
shit.
that make those influences more difficult but more rewarding. There are another 11 new keystones that we'll reveal over the next few weeks. Together, these 16 keystones mean that regardless of how you enjoy your maps, you'll have plenty of new ways to play Path of Exile's Endgame in this expansion. And I should note, in the initial draft of the keynote, I painstakingly went through every single keystone. It took like 10 minutes. But we'll put them in the news to save you some time here. In the Trial of the Ancestors expansion, we're shifting Path of Exile's metagame in several ways. The first is by introducing 14 new support gems, which are designed to take existing categories of skills and provide entirely new ways to play them. For full information, check the final gem hovers when we post them in the next few weeks. Let's have a look at a handful of these support gems now. In Path of Exile, war cries usually questioning why you're alive. Directly hurt monsters.
Yeah, I just did that. I just had a Big Mac, and I'm like, why?
Oh my god, I want to die.
What did you get?
I'm not going to tell you.
Wait, what did you get? Taco Bell.
No.
Was it Taco Bell?
I got the most extreme thing you can get.
Causes projectiles from supported skills
That's huge.
to return to you, piercing all targets but dealing a little less damage.
That's pretty sick. I got, no, I got Jack in a Box.
I think there's another example too.
What did you order?
Oh, that's huge right there. That's so good.
The Fresh Meat support gem causes minions created by supported gems to gain adrenaline, critical strike chance, and critical strike damage for a duration after they're first summoned. So you've got to work out a way to keep refreshing your minions, and it makes them a lot more powerful. The Flamewood support gem causes totems to trigger projectile mortars at enemies that hit them.
What?
This is particularly synergistic with totems that can taunt enemies, such as Decoy Totem, or one of the new Chieftain Ascendancy skills that I might talk about shortly.
That's my build.
Yo, that cape is dope.
The Sacrifice support gem works on spells that you either cast yourself or through totems. These spells now sacrifice a percentage of your current life or the totem's life to gain additional chaos damage based on how much life was sacrificed. The Frigid Bond support gem affects Link skills.
Oh my god.
And causes a cold mist to come over them. Enemies caught in the beam are chilled and are dealt cold damage over time. This creates a new tool for a cold damage over time build, requiring strategic placement of both yourself and your Link's ally.
Link skills are kind of memey, but they're pretty
is that two players or is it like an AI?
It's two players.
And affects attack skills that use bows and
what?
wands. Instead of directly using the supported skill, you throw mines in an arc that use that skill for you, targeting your location when you detonate them. In addition to these gems, there are another 7 that we'll be revealing over the next few weeks.
That's probably meta.
In addition to the 14 new support gems, our balance work for the Trial of the Ancestors involved us
Is
revamping
this
2
April
ascendancy
Fools?
classes.
Someone said.
These are the subclasses that you can specialize in as you play through Path of Exile's campaign. Each main character class has 3 ascendancy classes available. In the last expansion, Crucible, we overhauled the Pathfinder and Saboteur. This time, it's the Guardian and Chieftain.
Can I be someone's ego and just have the like beam attached to me and I just run?
While we were very happy with the theme of the Guardian, it was falling behind the power level and popularity of other ascendancy classes. Our changes in this expansion have modernized the class and will present you with more relevant build opportunities than before. Brace yourself. Okay.
Oh boy.
Path of Exile 102. Harmony of Purpose can power up parties using Link skills. Time of Need now completely cleanses and heals you every 4 seconds. Radiant and Unwavering Crusade both fully embrace the Holy Summoner theme by giving you access to some exciting new types of minions that are exclusive to this ascendancy class. We have this picture on the announcement page, pathofexile.com/ancestor for you to scrutinize. Next.
Interesting.
While the Guardian's revamp was similar to that of the
I think they're running behind.
The Chieftain has received
Probably.
the Saboteur treatment.
Also,
to be honest, we were
I can only put so much
unhappy about
focus
many
in,
aspects of this Ascendancy
if I'm
class
trying
in
to
its old
understand
form,
some of
and
this,
so we have
'cause
completely
I got
redesigned
like a
it. You can
D&D
play it now.
one-shot
It's
immediately
basically
after
an
this.
entirely new Ascendancy class
And I can
with the
only
same
save so
name
much brain
and
juice.
art and a new way of approaching its themes.
I'm going to go into
Its
that
new
session
skills
and
let you, among other things, cause enemies to
mush brain.
explode, turn off enemies' fire resistance while you're stationary, convert passive skills to apply to fire
that
damage,
explode
and have
thing
your
is
fire
crazy.
resistances apply to your cold and lightning resistances. I'll just
So
give you
like
a
for this
second.
slide,
Wait,
I'm just
can't
looking
you
at the
just
picture,
use
I'm
that
like,
on
he looks cool.
totems?
All right, that's on the site too for you to check out. It's
What?
pretty
In
powerful
that
now.
meta right there?
To celebrate the release of the Trial of the
500%.
Ancestors, we'll be hosting a boss kill event. To enter, create a hardcore solo self-found character in the Ancestor League and race to kill all 7 Uber Pinnacle bosses on the same character. Note that unlike the last event we ran, this one is not a ruthless event. We'll post more information about the event and its prizes in the news before release.
It was
everyone.
It was a sausage cheddar
The Ancestor
biscuit
Challenge League,
breakfast
we're launching
sandwich
2 new series of
and an
supporter packs,
extreme
the
sausage
Shade and
sandwich.
Disciple packs. Each tier contains the
Not
pack's full
feeling too
face
hot.
value and points, alongside several exclusive microtransactions.
Okay, so here's my dilemma, JP, is I ordered 2 Big Mac meals, and I'm looking at the second one, and I'm like, I shouldn't. I shouldn't, right?
Cosmetic and
I'm
do
just
not
gonna,
affect the
I
character's
shouldn't.
power or progression in any way, despite how cool
2?
they look.
I'm hungry!
The Shade series of supporter packs
Here
contains
we go.
6 exclusive microtransactions.
Spend some money, baby.
All right. The sarcophagus back attachment imprisons an unspeakable evil that struggles to break free. Nearby monsters send it into a frenzy, and enemy deaths provide it with souls to feast upon. The Stygian Waypoint shackles visitors to your hideout in chains, yourself included. These chains are just cosmetic, though, and they break as soon as you move. It would supposedly be a gameplay advantage to be able to imprison people. The Ferryman's armor set is so full of trapped souls that some of them try to escape. Moving while wearing the boots will leave souls in your wake trying to break free.
That's cool.
These are all cosmetic only, by the
The
way.
Infernal Portal
I know, but
opens a
it's
gate
cool.
to the Netherrealm when you approach.
This is very simple. I understand what's happening
whether
here,
using
okay?
hellfire to heat your hideout is actually safe and
This is
practical.
something I can get hype about, because I don't understand the
The
other stuff.
demon-bound crafting bench allows you to enslave a malevolent entity to craft items for you. Be warned, it has a sharp tongue and will mock you mercilessly.
That's pretty worth.
Me for such a paltry use.
Cool.
The Nebula character effect causes items you pick up to orbit you in an ethereal cloud of loot.
That's great.
That's great.
The Disciple series of supporter packs also contains 6 exclusive
Puppy.
microtransactions. Look at dog. I'm going to put that in the top pack. The Hero's Landing Finisher effect summons a marble statue from the heavens to execute unique monsters you defeat.
Yo, that's
You decide
sick.
whether it's the sword or the huge lump of rock that actually kills them. The Bell Tower map device heralds the opening of a new map with a peal of bells. Start to run out of portals, though, and it will reflect your desperate situation.
That's great. That's
This
great.
is fine.
Oh, that's...
The Cathedral armor set refracts light
Whoa.
through your character, creating beautiful patterns on the ground around it.
I'm gonna have to
If your
buy
life
all
gets
this, aren't
low,
I? God.
it responds in kind.
That's cool.
The Observer Diamond Flask summons a tentacled mass that fires its eye lasers at enemies you critically strike while the flask is active. Again, cosmetic. The Currency Orb Charge effect lets you pick from a number of different currency types to replace your charges with, as long as you've used that currency item anytime from today onwards. Some people, we have to store it in the database, right? Some people will show they can be part of the exclusive club of players who have actually used a Mirror of Calandra. This effect also causes your charges to display in town. So the theory is you go use your standard mirror, which we all have, right? The Faithful Hound Pet is a very good doggo, and it knows a few tricks. You can command it to sit, roll over, or play dead.
What is
and
play?
yes, you can pet the dog.
Pat it! Nice. Didn't even pet it with his real hand.
These new packs are available right now at pathofexile.com/purchase, and purchases like these directly fund the ongoing development of Path of Exile 1 and 2.
To the point where he won't touch it
Meanwhile, the Lithomancer and Enchanter packs leave the store forever at the launch of Trial of the Ancestors, so now's your last chance to purchase them. There's some good stuff in those too. Thanks for your continued support.
Chad, is the $500 chess set still?
For the last ExileCon, we developed a special card game that encapsulated the full gameplay arc of Path of Exile over the course of the event.
Okay.
Players could defeat monsters, progressively upgrade
You know,
their items,
use currency items to craft their equipment,
find and run maps, and eventually defeat pinnacle bosses to earn rewards. It was a whole lot of fun, and we've had so many requests to run it again. So this year, we're proud to bring you the 2023 version of the ExileCon card game. And like all Path of Exile expansions, it even includes a challenge league. In your swag bags, you'll have found a box of ExileCon cards, and then a gentleman outside will have asked to purchase them from you for real money. If you have any cards left, you can use these to challenge GGG staff members who are walking around ExileCon as monsters. They'll be wearing t-shirts showing the monster's stats, which include symbols for their attack and defense. Using the cards in your deck box and those you accumulate by defeating monsters, put together one set of armor, one weapon and shield, or a two-handed weapon, and an amulet and 2 rings. To defeat a monster, the damage on your weapon has to be equal to or larger than the defense of the monster, and the defense on the armor and shield have to be equal to or larger than the attack of the monster. It's that simple. There are some wildcard symbols. It's explained on the rules in the box. Rings and amulets are pretty hard to find, and they can be used for either attack or defense. So to attack a monster, politely approach a staff member wearing the shirt, introduce yourself, and show them the set of equipment you want to use. If your symbols match, then you'll have defeated them, and they'll give you a reward and remove some of the durability from your items. They do this by clicking the card, so if you want to keep the card pristine, don't necessarily attack someone with it. It will get damaged in combat. Be careful not to waste your best items on low-level monsters. You're not allowed to attack the same monster twice in a row, so you need to explore ExileCon to find different GGG staff members. You can get maps by defeating monsters marked as gods.
Man, I can't wait to play that.
Take these maps to the map device.
Gotta go to New Zealand for this.
On the back of the box is a list of quests. As you complete quests, you can visit the crafting bench on the top floor to receive rewards for completing those quests.
FanFest would be like,
you can also
look under your chairs. Half of you have cards. Half of you do not.
That this year's version of the card game introduced a challenge league. That league is Delve. Accumulate sulfite and bring it to the Delve wall. I'm sorry for the bad photo, it's hard with lighting, on the middle floor. Each sulfite card you hand in allows you to explore one tile of the Azurite mine. You'll all be working collaboratively throughout the event to delve deep into the mine, fight the monsters that lurk there, and uncover its treasures.
That's
and I feel
pretty
really bad
badass.
for the poor people that had to hang 3,000 cards on that wall.
Cool.
You may eventually be able to challenge the pinnacle bosses if you manage to get really far in the card game. I'm the Searing Exarch, Jonathan is the Eater of Worlds, and Mark is the Maven. Defeating any of the 3 of us will reward you with a Mirror of Calandra enamel pin. This pin is exclusively available for winning the card game and won't be sold in the merchandise shop. Each person can only receive a maximum of 2 mirrors, and when they run out, we can't give any more out, so try to win the game early. The reason for 2 is a very typical Path of Exile reason, 1 for you and 1 to trade. All right, it's almost time to go and experience ExileCon 2023. Aside from the card game, we've prepared a full weekend of activities for you. There's a busy roster of talks and interviews on the main stage and the streamer stage. We've posted a schedule at pathofexile.com/ExileCon, so you can see what is happening when and where. The schedule also
they were supposed to have the camera on the screen. This is
it shouldn't matter.
It won't matter, streamers, but also some game development industry friends we've met over the last 16 years. We're proud to once again welcome the creators of the Diablo series, David Brevik, Max Schaefer, and Eric Schaefer, as well as Travis Baldry, who you may know from Fate, Torchlight, and his popular fantasy books, or even the books he's narrated. They'll not only have meet and greet sessions, but are also participating in an action RPG roundtable discussion alongside me and Eric tomorrow on the stage.
Cool.
In all of the developer talks and panels, ExileCon attendees will be able to scan a QR code on their phone to submit questions for the speakers to discuss in the panel or on the Q&A section of the talk.
That's super cool.
The Path of Exile 2 ExileCon demo is a large one, and you may want to play it multiple times this weekend. In each session, you can pick from one of 4 character classes, which start at various points throughout the first 4 acts of Path of Exile 2's campaign. Around half of each act is included in the demo, and your session time is limited to 45 minutes before you have to let someone else have a turn. Remember, as Jonathan said earlier, this demo is hard. Read the signs that explain how your skills combine together. Dodge roll is your new friend. You should also swing by the Path of Exile mobile demo at the chill out area on the top floor and check out its progress. It's coming along really well, and we'd love to get your feedback on it. We've created heaps of new Path of Exile merchandise, which is available at our merchandise shop on the middle floor. We've made 17 new t-shirts, which include a few from our community t-shirt design competition. We've created a range of 24 enamel pins. You'll have found a random one in your swag bag. If you approach me and I'm wearing a pin, feel free to swap for the one you've got if you'd like. Happy to trade. You can purchase the others in the shop. As mentioned before, there's also the super exclusive Mirror of Calandra pin that is only available to winners of the card game. Maybe you're able to trade for a full set. There are 2 new posters. One is the Atlas passive tree, and the other is the periodic table of currency.
Oh, that's a good one.
In addition to reprinting the incredibly popular Celestial Cat socks, we've also introduced the Chaos Orb socks, better for business meetings. There's also a range of 4 desk pads to keep your play area tidy. You can check them out at the demo zone. We have a limited range of ExileCon 2019 merchandise available in the store as well. Make sure to hit it up early if you want some of this, because stocks of the older items are quite limited. We have plenty of new merchandise for everyone, though, and I think I might have underestimated that. The ExileCon livestream concludes tomorrow with our grand racing finale, where 4 players compete for up to $10,000 and the title of ExileCon 2023 Racing Champion. Afterwards, we're hosting an after party at 8 p.m. at the venue.
I don't know the specifics around it.
Please note that because there are multiple things going on at the same time here, and we can only stream one of them live, we'll be restreaming 3 of today's talks tomorrow before the event starts. So to be clear, they're occurring here, people can watch them in person, but you can't watch them at that time because we're streaming something else. So we're going to restream those tomorrow in the 3 hours where it's way too early to do it in New Zealand, but you can watch them online from the States and Europe.
Okay.
This makes sure that everyone is fully up to date on
5.
all the talks that have been announced about Path of Exile 2
Usually
before
takes
the important Q&A in the morning when you get to ask the important questions.
I think.
If you missed out on attending ExileCon this year, we'll be at Gamescom in Germany in August and PAX West in Seattle in September. At both shows, the Path of Exile 2
they're
booth
so
will
lucky
have our
he speaks
ExileCon
fast,
demo
'cause
available to play.
I know,
so
he went
much
through
content.
so much
in this
information
window.
and content.
And we hope to see you
They're
there.
like right on time.
Thanks so much
He
for joining us this weekend at
sped
ExileCon 2023.
Yeah, they lost like 10 minutes when they died in the demo.
Yeah. And they got it right back.
He talked for like, what, an hour straight there?
Yeah, without stopping.
That's why I was saying, like, my mouth would be so dry. I'd be like...
Actual rap god, dude.
G'day, Exile. Welcome back to the second half, the post
I want to see what Mathel thinks.
For you, I'm Ziggy D, joined once again by Mathel, Rise QT, and Noogie. And we're going to have a bit of a chat about what we've seen so far, and there is a lot to go over while we distract you while we wait for the next upcoming segment, which will be Kriparian interviewing Jonathan about Path of Exile 2. So until then, though, let's have a little bit of a chat about some of the things we've seen. Why don't we kick things off with the separation of Path of Exile 1 and 2 into separate games, and what that means. What do you guys have any thoughts about that, Mathel?
Yeah, apparently they didn't own enough of my soul. So, like, instead of just, playing as much as you want of Path of Exile League, a few weeks here or there, maybe half of it, something like that, and then maybe do some other things. Instead, you're pretty much locked in a cycle of playing both versions now with new launches continuously, and I'm just going to be doing that basically for the rest of my life. So that's the big shock and twist for me, but other than that, Path of Exile 2 looked amazing, and yeah, nothing short of what I expected.
Awesome. Rise?
I gotta say, I was thinking that that's the right path for Path of Exile. And I mentioned it to a couple people, and they were all going, nah, no, there's no way. They're not doing that. Even developers were like, we're not telling you anything. Turns out, they're doing it. So, like Mathel said, I think there's plenty to be played, and it's going to be for a long time. I think
it is a lot of PoE.
Nice schedule with those last couple
of
weeks.
It's a lot of PoE, man.
Leading into another PoE.
Yo, I'm hyped for PoE too.
Because the thing that's messed up
so I'm really
is when PoE drop a new league,
all
of my friends vanish. for weeks. They go. They're gone. They won't respond to messages.
Sure,
that's
you're
it.
still getting.
And now you're
PoE
telling me
1
that this is
and
going to
2 at the
happen
same time, just
twice
in
as
PoE2
frequently.
and all
It's true.
upgraded. So it's not we're going to have this weird split between 1 and 2. You're just getting it all in one package with enough content to, like, just. Yeah.
Oh. I think them separating the games the way they are does answer a lot of questions about like how certain PoE 1 things might have changed over to the new system.
On the stream is
and things like that.
the
So
guy
I
in the
kind of
middle's mic
expected
should
that
be on the other
like, this
side.
isn't
I'm
super
assuming to
unexpected,
match
but
everyone
what
else.
was really unexpected for me was the fact that they're keeping up with Path of Exile.
Well, he's got his headphones on backwards, no doubt.
Split cycle, like. I did not expect
I mean, it
that.
sounds
I
fine.
don't think anyone did.
Yeah, I thought PoE 1 was
But now
done. You know,
everybody
just go
who likes
legacy and you
symmetry
could go back and
can't
play the
unsee
content
it.
if you wanted to, but
Which is mainly you, because I didn't even notice it until you pointed it out.
I didn't notice it either, and I pointed it out because I just wanted
office
to.
into 2 teams at that point, and continuing development of both games. It's not even.
And surely Path of Exile 1 only gets
She
better
said,
and
I
better
only
from here
learned
as
that when I
well,
was
because
hosting. So
for
she's
the
drawing
past,
on
few
some
years,
hosting
they've
stuff
been
that she's done in the
working
past.
like largely on Path of Exile 2,
It should be the same.
and diverting less of their resources towards
What?
the PoE 1 leagues and all that. They've still been good, they've still been big, but
That was a lot of information.
Like now, if they're working on them in tandem, there's probably a
But it
large
does have me hyped for
subsection of
PoE
the
2.
team on Path of Exile 1.
And
that
I
maybe
would
came back,
argue
and,
that the guy in the middle of the couch has it on
doing
correctly.
the new PoE 2 systems on it as well.
Based on where the camera
what this
is.
means for the long term, like, do
He's the only one that's actually showing.
Yeah,
the other two have their face hidden by the microphone, so they're technically doing it wrong.
Maybe Path of Exile 1 keeps that like much faster gameplay. Maybe PoE 2 changes to this more combo focused gameplay.
Oh, did he really? We'll watch it in
like,
just a sec.
interactive, and they might get.
Big fan of this
grow
production. I was
apart
actually going to say
separately
before I
over
wrap
time,
up here with this,
or maybe
because I
borrow
got to
from
get
each
ready for
other
some other
as
stuff,
well.
but
Well, it could
the
happen,
production
right?
value on
That's
this has
a
been
real
great.
possibility, because I remember seeing those trailers
Fantastic.
and thinking that's going to be hard, like especially with the
And it's
monk,
surprising,
it's going to be hard
though.
to fit into PoE 1.
Not surprising, but
I mentioned
you'd be
before.
surprised how many
And it turns out
big
they
cons
don't
of
know how to do
productions
it.
still have like
and
some
yeah,
hiccups
there's been a
and
lot
some
of talk
audio
definitely
hiccups and
about
weird
some of the
stuff
trailers
happening.
that
You know
they've
what I
shown
mean?
in the past with the
It's been
gameplay
rock
being more
solid.
methodical,
You
slower,
can tell as a
more
company they just
tactical.
have fun with it
And
too. Like there were a lot of
PoE1,
jokes that
let's
they
be
were
real,
cracking at their own
it's,
expense.
It's not exactly like that anymore. So
They're definitely passionate
I think there's going to be plenty
about
for
the
each
games
type
they're
of
making.
player, but it's nice to have that opportunity to be able, just like with different games, just
And
try
now knowing too that PoE
something maybe
to
with a
like
little bit different
when it's
pace.
starting to
but
first
at
be
the same
playable
time,
is
we
still
don't
like a
really
year
know.
out.
Yeah,
I got
let's
some
talk
time
about
to delve into
gameplay,
PoE 1
like,
if I
just
want to.
in an overall sense, the gameplay
Yeah.
of Path of Exile
That's
2, what it
cool.
looked like. What are you guys'
That'd be a couple
impressions
leagues
of it?
before
What are
then.
your first thoughts on that, Apple?
I mean, I loved how crisp everything looked.
I have to
For,
go,
like,
gentlemen.
The ice, the
All right,
ice
man.
skills,
Farewell.
the lightning,
Farewell,
It's been a
Gassy.
slice.
Farewell.
Yeah,
It's
the
good chatting with you,
aesthetic,
Max.
Well.
the world they
Chill out,
built
bud.
there,
Talk
and
to you
just seeing
soon.
the new
Going.
classes doing their
Bye,
new
guys.
things.
Bye.
Like it was exactly what I was hoping to see.
I fucking hate that guy.
It was at sometimes I think a bit slower than I would have liked, but that's just kind of how it is early on, and then especially during a demo. Yeah, you should have noticed that I think pretty much nothing was like supported too much. There was a lot of extra passives unused.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you still want to be able to have your Path of Exile zoom and get through it pretty quick.
See,
if you
Mathel
really
and I
want to.
agree.
I'm sure we'll get that
I
later.
agree
on,
with
but,
Mathel, one
yeah, it
could
looks
say.
just crisp.
Yeah, I anticipate that players will be playing that same content.
Yeah, you're the
after
guy
a
that
while,
runs
twice
through
as
the
fast,
level
right,
looking
with
for the
better
enemies
better
that
builds,
matter,
better
trying to
builds
get
and
the
so on.
drops that he
For
cares
demonstration
about.
purposes,
All
it's actually slowed down
the
quite a
enemies
bit.
matter.
To give you an idea of what they're going for there. And showing that, I think, does allow for us to see a little bit of the idea of like, okay, so maybe we have the fast encounters, players really crushing stuff really quickly, but then maybe like at endgame, certain bosses or certain bosses where you're leveling have those longer encounters, and this is what Path of Exile can do with that situation. Here's much more dynamic gameplay. We did see very different styles of gameplay too, from the monk and from the sorceress. One felt like a fighting game, and then the other one had like meta
Look,
skills
chat.
and
I
like,
got
a
my
bit more,
right-handed
like,
mug.
combination between those different spells and things like
Yay!
that. So how do you guys feel about that? Did you prefer one over the
Something
other?
Ziggy's nose.
I think just
I was
having
helping
the
him out.
dodge available.
Yeah,
every
got
class
to.
without a cooldown.
That's big.
Is crazy.
I say it didn't have a cooldown, right? Like,
Chad, if you want to get that mug, you can go to itmeJP/merch.
And I saw some
We
animation
launched our
canceling
brand
with
new
that
merch
too.
store.
That
Go
is
check it out.
Very cool. I think that's much better. Hopefully, it's going to be much better than what it is in current Path of Exile with some of the animation canceling. But yeah, absolutely. I think the monk, pretty crisp. I think that was looking pretty good. The repositioning, the constant mobility, that's the sort of classes that I enjoy. So really looking forward to that.
I think the going to the PoE2 and slowing it down a bit, and all the uniqueness uniqueness of all the different kit with the weapon swapping and all that, I think you're going to be able to live more in a certain fantasy in PoE 2, then you've been able to be like, there's going to be more of a distinct feel to everything. Where even as like in PoE 1, you had flame dash on every warrior, like on every marauder, duelist, everything. Like you were a spellcaster, but also a fighter. It's like, So I think like they can really lean into like the uniqueness of every character, and I think that's going to feel real good.
Yeah, and then the weapon swapping as well. They haven't really specified what you can and can't do with that. They were talking a little bit about the different passives for like fire and lightning, but then can you do that with the types of melee weapons and switching that out? Like, that looks like a system that's got a lot of opportunity and probably going to be pretty tricky to develop around sooner or later.
That's what I figured. Looking at the weapon swapping, I thought it's an opportunity to be able to pick up like several different weapons while you're playing and actually spec into like a couple instead of just going for generic things and hoping that eventually you can commit to a weapon. This way you might at least be able to branch out into 2 different things, actually spec 2 different things, and then make a full choice later down the line. But yeah, I think it's going to have a big impact on melee as well as the casters.
Yeah, this all kind of like weaves into what you were talking about of things becoming a lot more distinct. Like you can have more distinctive styles between each class, but also distinctive styles within that class where you've got a character that's swapping between 2 weapon types for melee or different staves or different wands or whatever for different caster styles. And that weapon swapping system was nuts. I did not expect that. So, and I thought that they'd be doing something with the skill system, so they kept what they had shown previously with the skill system. We saw the menu where you can drop your skills in and drop your supports in. We saw some very interesting looking meta skills, but then also adding to that and expanding that with this weapon swapping system that actually, like, it looks like it works, right? That's the thing that struck me about is like as a current weapon swapping system. Yeah, occasionally someone uses it.
It works. It's just uncomfortable.
Yeah, like no one really wants to do it. There's like an occasional build that takes advantage of it for the most part, but mostly we're leveling off-handed gems, right? It's not very interesting.
Well, what about the gems, though?
Yeah?
I mean, the fact that they're in you can just pick them. You get the uncut, the curve.
Oh, yeah, the uncut gem.
Oh, yeah.
That was nice, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That might be ruthless influence, because you can do that. But you're so limited. While here, you can really mess around with it a lot. It's a really nice system, especially since there seems to be even more skills, and they're going to keep introducing like they have been every league. Right now, they're focusing on support skills, but I would imagine those abilities are also going to come into play eventually, so it's just growing.
Well, some of our predictions were about shortening that time from like finding something cool to using it, and that system being able to get a new gem in the field without going back to town works for that, right? You find a cool new weapon, it's got it's a staff with like some fire skill or meta skill built into it that's going to work really cool with this thing. You pick up your cut gem that you got in your inventory and cut it up into something that's going to work with that, and then you change your build on the fly. And maybe it's also working alongside and synergizing.
What do you think about PoE 1, PoE 2, meh? Or this all looks awesome.
Having the icon on the UI.
But I'm the target. I'm the already installed audience,
what
right?
The different things are and what your style is versus, let's say you're in PoE.
I've already got like 3,000, 4,000 hours in PoE.
Different.
So I'll play all this regardless.
You don't really know what to do with it, so I think that's really gonna just open up like just your creativity on the fly.
He gets me, dude. Yeah, I go to that gem vendor and they all look the same. And I gotta spend 5 minutes.
Oh yeah,
to search
back to town.
Yeah, well, Rise and me doing the race tomorrow, and that'll be kind of like sealing off the PoE 1 era of racing somewhat. I'm super interested to see what happens with PoE 2, like competitive play in racing. Like there's so much more that people can.
It's Act 1 through Act 5 as fast as you can.
Weapon swapping setups being set up on the fly, and
they do it in about an hour.
Field.
Oh wow! Yeah, I think the skill ceilings just.
The Path of Building jokes. Path of Building is a simulation tool.
Yeah, for sure. Because that was a big limit for a lot of classes in the past for racing.
Figure out how something works so they can then
simulate it. It needs that access to all those different weapons, and wasn't the case, but it will be now.
Yeah, so much more dynamic and distinctive gameplay there, but we also saw a bunch of new classes, like more classes. What? There's already so many classes in this game, and then like with their ascendancies as well, like splitting that into so many more classes. So now, we got a mercenary, a warrior,
huntress,
Huntress,
Druid?
Sorceress, and Druid. Yeah.
Druid, yeah. There we
Am I
go.
muted the Strippin?
They didn't
No?
show the Druid. Maybe
And
it's...
that's it.
No, we just
they didn't
watched
get rid of any. I thought they were getting rid of some. Like, I thought Templar was gone. I thought Templar was being replaced by Monk.
Oh, really?
But they're all still there. It's like adding another class for each of the hybrids.
But they haven't talked about Ascendancy,
I don't know.
right?
I'm going to turn them down for just a second. I think for them to...
they didn't give us the info on it. No.
Yeah, not yet. I'm guessing
them announcing that the beta starts next summer
those down a little bit. But yeah, it seems like
kind of took the like wind out of their sails a little bit.
So like, you actually, if you play a Monk, it's going to have a much
think
bigger
so?
impact.
Yeah,
on
like
even
it.
your early game, not just
If they'd have been like,
Ascendancy
we'll
skills
have
you'll
more
access to,
information
but
for
also,
you
like,
guys
the
soon
sort of
and
skills
not
you have
announced any date,
available and the play
Yeah,
style,
like
much
it.
more than
then
just an
the
aesthetic.
hype
And
would
even
have
the party
maintained
looked a lot more
its
interesting.
peak.
It seemed like they were really positioned
Yeah, it-
around each other and worked really well, I thought. With
It's
some
a,
of
it's
the
a,
availability
it's
of
like
gameplay
really
and
far. I mean, that's a
Sorceress
year
more
for
in the
beta.
back,
Yeah.
bigger cast times.
I think
and,
everyone
bigger
kind of
cooldowns,
expected
but
like
those
D4 to
big
come
moves
out.
really when I was
And
watching
even
the
though
boss fights, it was
Grinding
kinda
Gear was saying like, yeah, guys, we're gonna work on PoE 2 and release it when it's ready, and we're really far
People
out.
thought that Grinding Gear would clap back at D4
Yeah.
with PoE 2.
Yeah.
And this would be the like beta is ready now.
Because, like you said,
Yeah.
it looked really good in that boss fight, that second
I mean,
boss fight where one player was like really distracted
It
and
looked
stuff like that. It looked much more
way
engaging
better
than
than I think
current
people originally
multiplayer
thought it was
Path of
going to
Exile.
be.
I think
They
it-
thought
yeah.
was going to
Exactly
be
why, but I think one of
I
the
agree that with
is
that.
the new
PoE
control system they
1.5.
showed off, which
I
is-
want
makes sense.
I want them to
brilliant.
put out like a 4K YouTube video
Builds
because I think
up
it's gonna
crowd
look
control
crazy.
over
Yeah.
time. So,
If
like,
I'm
you
them though, you're right.
hit
I
them
don't
with
give
things that
people
freeze,
any
it
kind
pulls
of
the freeze
window.
up until you get an
I go,
actual
it's
substantial
very much
freeze
in
or stun
development.
on a
We're
boss.
working
We
on
saw-
it.
we saw
We'll have
big
more information
stuns
for you
on those
soon.
bosses. So
And then,
instead
yeah,
of
they-
you
everyone just
build a
goes,
stun character
"Whoa,
and you
that
get,
was
like,
awesome."
lots of little
Right,
stuns,
yeah.
and
When
you
is it
get,
coming?
like, a crazy character.
And then they,
Most
I mean, they could
of the
even
time
drop
bosses
that
are
tomorrow
immediately
at like the
starved for it.
final
Doesn't
thing
work.
they
They've
show.
hidden freezes, so it's like
But I don't know, a year out is a long way out. I think like every time I play PoE, every league that's sponsored, I have so many people join my chat and say, man, I really want to play PoE, but I'm not going to jump in till PoE 2. And I think it's just another year of that.
Really synergizing well together.
I think like people might trickle through, but it's not like a floodgate. It's like a fucking, you know, a piece of stone where some of the cracks are coming through.
Based on what Jonathan said, the scope creep seems to fuck with the dev.
Yeah,
It's like they were like, what if we just make this its own thing? What if we make this better? What if we improve on this? What if we add more things? And then it just became its own game.
Yeah.
So now they're making a second game.
Probably supposed to engage with them
I'm
differently.
curious what, I'm always curious
Like move once.
Yeah,
what
but that was
Reddit's
one of the
saying.
biggest concerns at the last ExileCon for me, that how do you really build
So let's open that.
From the ground up to make it feel
What are
like
they
it's
saying
not
over there
just
on the
a
old
continuation
Reddit?
of Path of Exile 1 and just another expansion, because GG's just so good at releasing these expansions over and over. You kind of
Like everybody felt like since D4 came out, the PoE 2 had to come out, but it's not fair to Grinding Gear.
Basically an addition.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
The final decision on, well, possibly, I'm assuming, the final decision on PoE 2 being a separate game is going to be really cool.
The thing that's interesting though is this essentially gives Diablo 4 a year to make the game as good as they can.
It gives them a year to make the end game good. Yeah, that's exactly what it does.
Maybe 2 years.
Yeah, 100%. Because
I
say this.
basically said, here's 2 years that you get to develop your end game.
Yeah, I mean, I've always said this
People
about.
measure these games up against each other.
I've been saying, not always. I've been saying this since I played D4. Like,
When we saw
Diablo 4
first time,
at
you
this
really
point in
notice,
time
and
is a
just the actual
$70,
feel that he had
20
for
to
every
40
attack
hour
that second time
single
up.
player campaign.
Like there's
And it's
one
worth
region
every
that's
bit of that
sweet, and you know,
$70.
A little bit away from it.
The stuff after that,
The end of the back,
they're working on it. I don't know if it's there. I don't know if I could say like you should play this game every league, but they're going to try and work on it for, you know, a year or 18 months until PoE 2 comes out, right?
Done over and over.
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa, they have no mercy for this.
Dude, I was so impressed with PoE 2. So impressed. I didn't really understand the PoE 1 stuff.
The death wasn't
Yeah.
As a
glad we got to see
not
the death.
regular player,
but
chat seemed really excited.
Yeah.
And
and
so
they
did
died on maybe the last of those runs.
everyone
And I
that was
went,
there.
Oh no! Is that?
You think D4 expansion's announced by the time PoE 2 releases? I think the D4 expansion is out this holiday season or announced this holiday season.
They already have it made.
I think, and it's getting a little bit
the way
caught
that
out by some of those
the way
abilities
that Blizzard
there, but
works
yeah,
is that
that
content
looked
is
pretty brutal,
done,
but
they're
also
just
quite
holding it to
satisfying.
sell it to you
Like
later.
what we said, you know, probably you'll be a little
I think
faster in terms of
BlizzCon it gets announced and it comes out this holiday or early next year.
I think grinding gear, I think PoE as a company are a lot more honest.
A lot of people see this like skill combos.
A lot more honest than most.
I don't know if that's the Path of Exile one because people do like a really fast pace.
I agree with that.
Path of Exile, but
Well, it's very interesting because like I think you can put this to three big games kind of within our communities. If you look at like Final Fantasy, you look at PoE, and you look at like Larian, they're so like anti what the rest of the industry is doing in a lot of ways in terms of how they actually make their money, and they're so community driven that it's really fucking refreshing, and that's why we like herald them as being these like bastions of games.
Yeah, and what's happening is that more and more players are just gravitating towards those three companies.
Yeah.
Because it's so refreshing.
Yeah, we don't have to demand in 10 years' time. Like, we want classic. They're like, we're spoiled.
It's really interesting to look at that and think about that.
I'm glad we're not going back to that classic.
A little too classic for everyone's taste.
It's like classic, but
I'm morally driven as a person, and GGG are my favorite developer.
But
yeah, I think it definitely appeals to people like that, right?
Yeah.
Why are we told?
I do. Yeah. I mean, they definitely have done some stuff where you're kind of like, that's a little whatever, but it's only because it's always adversarial against what they've done in the past. If that makes sense.
Yeah. So you're holding them to like their previous kind of viewpoint.
That might be a spoiler for people at home, but on the
I think Capcom is doing a really good job lately as well as kind of being a
Capcom's kind of killing it. Yeah. I think
they're like being a beacon for like good game dev.
They're just making good games, I think. Like really.
I think it's in large part to them just taking the time to make their engine, like the Resident Evil engine.
I really hope that that report of them saying they have a game coming out in March that'll sell millions is World 2.
So do I.
God, that would just be...
I can't imagine it being anything else, though. Genuinely.
Yeah.
It has to be. It has to be Monster Hunter World 2. Or not RE engine.
I can't. It's going to be insane. Like, that's going to be so good.
Maybe an actual currency system and actual merchants and things like
that.
Yeah,
I'll give this. When does this new league drop?
August 18th, I think is what they said.
Okay.
They did soft test the gold thing.
That's a game drought.
League,
I mean, most people will still be playing Baldur's Gate. For streamers, yeah.
I got 3 weeks to play Baldur's Gate, and then if it drops on the 18th, you have me for 6 days until Armored Core.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And then it gets crazy again.
Gave you some options for vendors and stuff.
Because there's Armored Core into Starfield.
One was first kind of showcased. They came out.
I don't. Starfield's not really my thing. I don't think.
You're not even gonna look at it.
I might look at it. Historically, though,
why they want to move to this system and how it's going to play.
I've not really.
How they're going to like address some of those things. Maybe
been swept up by anything they've ever made.
Yeah.
I think that's for sure happening.
Yeah.
It's so bizarre that they didn't
I get that.
Maybe it's
That's
one of
fine.
those things where Chris is like,
I'm like, I think I'm an anomaly in that situation. Like, there's
I know
never been
a lot
a
of
Bethesda
people.
game where I've been like, man, I fucking love this game. Like, it's never happened to me.
Yeah, I don't think that. I mean, I've never been like over the moon from a Bethesda game, but I do think they push like genre-defining shit.
The most fun I had is I did Fallout 4 as One Punch Man, and I did like a fist-only run, and that was like my favorite thing.
Yeah.
Getting items, quest rewards, build it up, and
Sounds
it sounds
fun.
like it'll be improvable through itemization and the passive tree and things like that. I'm very excited about that.
Plus 10 maximum spirit from a boss kill.
Yeah.
More reservation right there.
Happen. Yeah.
But like, as a big fan of the Archmage and mana and all that, are you pretty excited about like being able to use your mana while at the same time being able to have the power of the auras and shit?
Yeah, but they're probably gonna nerf it. Nerf everything.
Doesn't matter.
Dude, Rise sounds so like burned by GZG.
True. That's getting nerfed too. The determination's not gonna last.
If Crip has his way with the developers, then determination's gone. He's not a fan.
Maybe we'll find out in like 10 minutes or so when he interviews Jonathan. The way that they said it on stage is like, people are always out of mana. I'm like, yeah.
So how long does ExileCon go on for?
think definitely, like, the feeling of being
till
out of mana and not being able to cast
tomorrow
spells
night, I
It's
think,
not done
is
playing
the
out of
final.
mana. It's like
The final
ignoring it
night.
as a
How long are you gonna be
resource,
watching for?
We're not
essentially.
using it at all.
Today
so,
it goes
like,
on for
solving
another
it is
couple
one
hours.
thing,
I'll
and that's
probably
part of
watch
the
the
game,
next
right?
panel
You
and
have a
then
bunch
look
of
to see
problems,
what
you
there
try and
is,
solve them,
because
and
I
it
want to
feels
see
good
what
to finally
Crip and
solve them.
Jonathan
Whereas
say.
with mana, largely we're ignoring it. We're just like, you know, you reserve as much and then just make sure it's not a thing for you. With this, perhaps it'll, you know, open up a lot more possibilities.
That's parts of what we saw with the Sorceress gameplay. The mana seemed like a more significant thing, and it also seems like they're taking, well, they explained it, but they were taking essentially what were archetypes, and they seem to really like putting them on
Ziz is
support
playing
gems and
PoE
whatnot.
2 after
Like, for
Crip.
instance,
Well,
when
I
we
guess
had,
I'll stay up for
Forbidden
PoE
Right, which takes a
2
portion of
with
your
Ziz
HP
playing it
and
after
does
the
a lot of
interview.
damage. That was really popular
There you
for a
go.
little bit with totems.
All right, man. Well, I'm probably gonna bounce then.
Okay.
And I will. I'll raid into you.
Oh, okay. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks for hanging out today.
Hey,
It was
what
fun.
are you doing tomorrow?
To go, honestly, it opens up a lot of opportunities.
plans?
It does need a buff
Okay.
No.
or a nerf.
Well, let's
They can
not play
address it as a
League,
whole,
but let's try to
and
find something to play.
that might make it so that.
So we're gonna play League?
No, it's so.
All right. See you tomorrow.
I'll
for
see you
League.
tomorrow for League.
All right,
You
man.
fucking
We definitely saw, like,
asshole.
more
See ya.
skills that were,
Have a
like,
good
either
night.
expensive mana costs, like
Fucking
the meteors,
prick.
cheaper mana costs, and then free,
Son
like
of a
the ones
bitch.
granted by items. So that means that definitely shows that I think there's going to be a lot
God
more
damn it.
interaction with mana as a resource, and I think
Teach
if
them
they get
some
that right,
PoE.
it's going to feel really good. Mana's hard though. Like a lot of games, I think struggle to get it right. But they've had a lot of experience now,
No
and I think it's
fucking
very
way.
fun to see what they try with the new system. We saw so many things today. Any other standout things?
I mean, for me, it was mostly classes. Like, you know, we knew that.
Yeah, we're gonna watch that
the
4K video on the
ascendancies
break.
and, some character models and stuff, and it's. I'm sure almost no one would have thought new classes because when we first saw Path of Exile 2, it's a
Reddit
very
is not
locked-in,
liking that
distinct
PoE 1 and 2
platform
are
of our
separate.
usual classes,
Really?
and then one of them drops.
I mean,
out
it
and you get
is-
to play it, and you're like, okay, that's what it is. And they
It
can't
does split
possibly
the
expand on
community
that. But
in
then
a
somehow they
odd
do,
way.
and all of a sudden, yeah, like there's also just the shape-shifting thing, right? You thought we're going to get a shapeshift. Nope, entire droid. So that just fulfills the shapeshift fantasy for anyone that wants to go down that route.
It splits their focus.
But
well, they've
yeah,
already
and
kind of
also the new
staffed
skills,
up,
it's
though.
like
I mean, they've already been
100
making
so
PoE 1 leagues
like
for
a lot
what?
of them can be kind of revamps, but I expected a few.
2
I mean,
years
like, how can you
or
keep
3
making new
years?
skills when
So
it
it's
feels like you're already reaching
saying
a limit
it's
of creativity.
I guess one
There's
could
just
argue
more.
that the
It's so brutal
most
to other
recent
games
leagues
when
have
we
been a
saw
little
that,
bit.
the
I don't
rattling
know.
off of the stats, like
There is some
700
argument there,
item
I
types,
suppose.
1,000 skills, 82 classes. I'm like, oh, how do other games? Like, you just can't, right? Because they're taking everything from Path of Exile 1 and moving it forwards. And that's been my big complaint with some other games that have gone from.
Isn't
version 1 to
PoE 1
version
and
2.
PoE 2 Endgame combined?
else
No, so
forgotten about,
the
gone,
first big
completely
announcement
erased.
today
It's kinda
was
also
that
interesting how they
it's all
said
separate.
that,
They're two
I believe
distinct
the
games now.
Huntress is
The only thing that carries over is
the-
MTX.
What was it, pole arms or some
Javelins?
pokey type of
Yeah, I
weapon?
think
yeah.
so. Javelins and stuff?
Yeah, like spears
Spears,
specifically.
like
so it's
Jav,
kind of
Amazon kind of vibes.
Yeah, I wonder if you're gonna be able to have that class be some sort of caster, or if they're really kind of tying it down, because that's very unusual for PoE. I know that they're doing stuff with the attributes, right, where they're splitting up different classes to have
Stash
different,
investments also carry over?
attribute,
Yeah, that's good. That makes sense.
preferences. But to tie a class down to a weapon,
I think I
very
included
unusual,
that
like, in
mentally when I
you
said
have, like, all the freedom in the
MTX,
world.
but it's
I
not really
think it
MTX.
gives- if you think about Monk as well, it's all about movement and hitting and getting up close and dodging it out. If you think about like what can a spear do, I mean, if you just think about all the different ways, well, you could also pivot around it. You could swing around it.
We're taking
you
Sam to
can
maps.
Like,
Look,
attach it
I'm
into
down
something
to
and pull yourself
look.
through it.
If
well, the thing is too that with PoE, the gameplay's always been
if
like,
Sam
it's
will
melee,
commit,
it's super.
I will
melee,
get
but
him
if
to
it's,
maps.
melee, but
I mean,
the game. Well, the way that you would.
You hear me, Sam? If you will commit, Sam, I will get you to maps.
PoE 2, you see
more
the
pokey
Monk, and
weapons.
you're like,
I will
slow
drag
down,
you
I
there
dodge, I hit,
myself.
You
I'm
know,
just hoping
get-
that it's going to be a more mid-range class, essentially.
Sure,
'cause
yeah,
we
yeah.
don't really
It'll be
have
great.
that. It's either big AoE or.
It'll be great. Thank you for the raid.
But definitely
Welcome,
looks a lot more dynamic
Raiders.
Now with like
Yeah.
With
a
the
blending of
dashing,
where
and
it
they're
lines,
attaching
yeah.
like a certain movement to every skill, so that you're never like feeling as if you're kind of
Shit,
missing
that.
because you've attacked from
I mean,
too
that's
far
up to
away.
you, man.
So that seemed to be actually a pretty big system
up
as
to you.
well to make melee refreshing.
I really can't believe the dashing. It's so crazy. Because forever they were like, no, mobility bad, nerf, nerf, nerf.
Oh, I could
And it
aura
was
bot for him. That's true.
They
That
were
was the
doing
second
forever,
Big
and I
Mac.
remember one
Oh,
of the
God.
most despised
Okay, good. You
patches
didn't need it.
was
I
when they
am
put
not
even
feeling
more
good.
cooldown on mobility skills.
I'll
So
tell
for
you that
them
right
to
now.
Just completely 180 on that.
I'm not feeling good.
Looking forward to it, and it's also very impressive.
What's up,
from just a game
Pedros?
point of view, because that's a
Welcome to the
big
stream.
jump.
Yeah, it's changing the gameplay around it too, like in a very exciting way. I
Here's
think.
how I
we also
know
have the,
that it
Path of
was a
Exile
bad
1
idea
league announced.
when the
You go, "Oh, that
bottom
looks so
of the
cool,
fucking
right?"
bag looks like
so you
that.
predicted the survivors, and that's like a trending genre right now. But auto battle is also
When there's a sheen
So I was like, oh,
on the
Matt,
bag,
close, mate.
you know you made
maybe a year or
a
so.
great
Yeah,
decision
yeah.
tasting it.
Next year, maybe.
But later,
Maybe. Or maybe I just gave them the idea.
you're gonna have a bad time.
Someone's furiously coding right now.
But yeah, no, that one actually looked. It's pretty.
I
big
treat
scope,
my
though.
body like a
Kind of
car,
similar
okay? I
to
make
the,
I make sure it's nice,
of Sanctum,
nice
where
and
it's like this
oiled.
separate thing where you interact with
Just
slowly
grease
and build
everywhere,
Your own,
you know?
Sort of board and gameplay, and then have a big battle.
Yeah, it's like
and then,
tournament structure.
Yeah, and then start up another one later. But it seemed very kind of like Sanctum in the way you're going to engage with it, but then just a completely different.
Your
mechanic
boxers
altogether.
are gonna look like the bottom
it was
of that
kinda more like
bag.
grounding us, right?
Oh,
so as opposed
boy.
to going all the way out into space and killing some other bigger things, it's like it's still from
Oh,
our roots,
God.
our ancestral roots, and like the history of the games. Characters and combat and all that.
You want a month without fast food? My wife
I don't know. So they
has
showed
been
some
eating really
leaderboard
well
stuff.
recently.
Will that be against
And she had a day where she
everyone
had
else? Like, will there just be one?
one
I think there's just gonna be
item
one
of fast
method.
food.
Your own,
She
character
fucking just
interaction,
puked.
so that you're like
for
getting higher
so
up
it was
through
just
the
so
system
much.
and getting further along to higher combat.
I would
Just
like to
it was so vile. She's like, I'm fucking done. I'm never eating that again.
It would be a good PvP system.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, folks.
Also,
we've been giving a
Strippin.
wrap up, though. We're going to be moving over in just a moment to Kriparian.
Your wife
interviewing
inspired
Jonathan, talking
this.
about Path of Exile 2, I believe, and I look forward to hearing what we're going to be able to hear about
Pretty
that.
good
Thanks,
emo.
guys, for joining me for the Stallcast. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope it kept you occupied while you were waiting through these difficult times for the more
I straight up
interesting
stole that
content.
emote.
Happy to be of service. Thanks for watching.
We've already been going for 2 hours on this VOD. Oh, that's creepy as hell. What the fuck? Yo, someone was in that place at night. That's how you die. What are they doing? That's how you get killed. Didn't they see a night at the museum? ExileCon always looks so small. Seems like there's a bot whispering a phishing link. Oh, we banned the bot. Get out of here, bot. Yeah, do not click suspicious links, guys. If you ever see the link jpisaweeb.com, that's suspicious. It's IamNotAweeb.com. Okay? They killed the audio. Why is that just a shot of someone's feet? All right, look, we've been streaming for 2 hours on this VOD. Let's wrap this up. If you want to watch the interview with Crip, you can find it on the Twitch VOD or find it on the PoE VOD. Okay? Thank you so much. We do have new merch up, itmeJP.com/merch. Thanks everyone for watching here on YouTube. We also recorded the Final Fantasy XIV Fan Fest restream from earlier in the day if you want to watch that. But for now, we're going to wrap this up because a 2-hour VOD on YouTube, well, you might as well not even post it. Thanks.